Hello and welcome to Bosch Professional Live UK. I'm back, I'm Chris.
And I'm Danny.
And I'm Dharma. And remember, this is a live stream, so any questions you have, put them in the chat and I'll read them out for Chris and Dan to answer.
Perfect, right, so, surprise, surprise, Dan, I think you had some fun without me, I'm afraid.
I did, yes.
Hand tools?
We covered the whole hand tool range. But saying that, we're going to expand upon that range a little bit today as well.
That's right, yes.
New launches.
That's right, so as we know, this is a really important live stream for us because, and I'm sure we're going to have quite a lot of people out in the chat looking forward to seeing what we're bringing out in this final 4 months, or we call it a T, of the year.
Yeah, the final third.
Exactly. So before we get started too much information, it's probably going to preface this live stream is going to be one that I'm sure a lot of you guys have been waiting for. There's a few products in the list that we have been promising for many, many years, so to speak. So hopefully you guys watching live are going to experience for the first time a couple new products that, again, you've been asking for a very long time. In fact, actually, it's not just going to be a couple of the tools that the woodworkers out there have been looking for. There's a number of other tools that, particularly if you are a plumber, for example, that hopefully we're going to be interesting you with.
Yes.
And hopefully we're going to get some feedback if there's any people that are working with plumbing, gas, whatever. If you're working with pipes, hopefully we've got a product that is going to be really exciting for you. And we're very happy to be bringing it into the range because that is a new segment for us.
Yeah. And if the live demonstration gods are with us today, hopefully we'll get a couple of live demos in for you as well.
Okay, cool. So I think we've managed to sort out Dharma's camera. So first off, Dharma, have we got anyone in the chat? Any questions already before we get started?
No questions yet, just the usual new tools and new workwear.
Oh, yeah, well, so Marcus, is Marcus in the chat?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Who's in the chat? I can see here who we got. Oh, good, we've got the regular lot, so that's good. We've got our hardcore fans. So you guys are going to see probably first. They're going to probably see the first examples of these tools. Now, I'm going to move on to the first machine, which actually is going to be one of my favorite tools and probably going to be one of my favorite tools of the year. Yes, there are some tools that you guys have been asking for, but actually from my side, this is the tool that I've been looking for. Now, I guess it's probably about a year and a bit ago, we brought out our new second generation of circular saws, being able to cut up to a maximum of 57 millimeters. However, the thing we had missing with these second generation saws is we really were missing our FSN guide rail compatible models.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, they came with a lot smaller motors. They were a lot more, they were a lot quieter to run, actually, a lot smoother motors. So it makes sense to actually have one that's guide rail compatible.
That's right. So,
however, instead of just making it guide rail compatible, we did something a little bit special with this one.
That's right. So before we start talking about the new type of guide rail system this works with, let's talk about the actual saw first. So Dan, you've got the machine, so let's bring it over.
I have the machine over here. Now this one's another catchy name for you. This is the GKS 18V-57-2 GX.
Okay, so the GX is going to be relevant in a moment.
Yes.
But let's talk about the product. Of course, it's a circular saw. It's 18 volt. Okay, maximum depth of cut of 57, and obviously generation 2. The G stands for guide rail compatible, and then X is that little secret thing that we'll show you in a minute.
Exactly.
Okay, so should we go through a little bit on the specs on this, Dan?
I think so, yep. First off, I'll start with the main issue, main difference with this machine other than the other ones that we've had. You'll notice on the side here, if I hold the machine up like that there, the side part here is actually an optional, well, not optional accessory, it comes actually in the kit as a dual action parallel guide and plate closer. So if I remove the, well, just loosen off the butterflies front and back, this part comes completely away. Now, you can see from the profile of this, if you put it one way up, you can use it as a plate closer, but the other way up is your parallel guide. And again, it's mounted front to rear, so gives you actually a really, really supportive straight parallel guide. So a massive improvement above the previous single point mounted version.
Right. So why do we need to close the guard? Because, as you can see, we have got now an open guard system here.
Yeah.
Well, not open guard, but it's open. The base plate doesn't go all the way around,
Exactly.
which means you can get really close to your cuts.
Yeah, that's about 10 millimeters away from the side of this guard is your blade. So you're talking about a cutting width from the side of the machine of similar to our plunge saw. So
Yes,
Yeah.
our GKT, our bi-turbo plunge saw. So obviously an exposed base plate is really beneficial for many of you. Again, as Danny has pointed out, if you do want to have close that off, we have that accessory as standard within the box.
Yep.
Now this is a 165mm blade.
Yep.
Okay, giving you a no load speed of 2,500 up to 5,000. And the fact that I'm giving you a variable speed there, which means if you spin that round down, you can see we've got a human machine interface or our normal interface screen here, giving you the ability to cycle through
See if I can
different
get that
speed
just there.
settings. So I give Danny a cool pack
Oh,
battery.
you're going to make that awkward now because the battery's on the bottom. There you go.
Okay.
Pop that on. Don't go grabbing any switches or anything.
Yep. So if Dan, you can cycle through and you'll see there's a number of speed settings on the left-hand side of the control.
So that's your speed button there. So speed 3, E, that's for your eco mode, but we'll cover that in a second. Then it dials back down to 1. There you go, and back up to 3, and then your eco mode. So if you're running a little bit low on battery power, maybe if the HMI just here turns amber, to say that the battery's running a little bit low on charge, then you can pop it into eco mode. Speed drops slightly, cutting efficiency is slowed slightly, but it does improve the battery longevity. So
That's correct, right. This machine allows you to bevel up to 50 degrees, which is a little bit, well, actually it's in line with the second generation circular saws that we've got. And in addition, something that we've borrowed from our bi-turbo series is the quick depth gauge adjustment this machine allows you to do.
that's it, exactly. It's a simple single button at the top there. Push that, and that gives you the full adjustment of the base plate there. On the back here, you've also, it's going to be difficult to see with the battery on, if I pop that off, whether you can see it just in there on the close-up.
Yeah.
There you go. So we've got a depth adjustment gauge on there.
Particularly clear as well.
Yeah, and the arrow, I believe, is at the bottom. Oops,
Yes.
difficult to do it backwards. There you go. So you can set the depth gauge quite easily on that. So, and it'll lock off anywhere you like.
Now, again, in line with all of our new circular saws, you'll see that obviously the dust extraction, and remember, dust management is extremely important to us and continues to be so, and obviously is a very key focus across all different segments. Excellent dust extraction. Remember, it's in line in the same system that we have with our bi-turbo brushes and our second generation saws. Friction fit and ooh. Okay, sorry.
There you go.
There we go. And then click and clean. Okay, so you're running dust extraction. Many of the Bosch ones using the click and clean hoses. Simply clicks into there. So it's an added benefit over the friction fit because
It's a huge advantage over the I mean, many a time I've been in the workshop using a friction fit machine, and as you're performing the cut, the pipe gets caught on the end of the piece of timber that you're cutting, and pops it out the back of the machine. Either you notice or you don't notice. If you notice it pop out, you stop, pop it back in again. If you don't, you'll find out later on when you have to sweep everything off the floor.
Now, anything else I can talk about? Obviously, there's quite a few features. There's so many things. This is why this is probably one of my star products of the year. Something new. Obviously, if you've used any of our saws before, if you wanted to pull the guard back, perhaps you wanted to align it to your FSN guide rail, for example, or if you wanted to do plunge cuts, not that we always recommend doing that with a non-dedicated plunge saw, but we know you do.
Remember, this is backwards compatible with the existing FSN system as well.
So you'll see here, my thumb goes on the top here, and there is a lever there that allows me to pull the guard back.
Yeah.
It is quite heavy, but it's deliberately done so because of a necessary norm. Because this is an exposed base plate, that needs to be able to come back within a certain time period very quickly to prevent any possibilities.
You'll notice this section on the front of the protective guard here as well is an addition due to that reduced or the removed side of the plate of the base there.
So when in operation, that just pulls back as normal, has no resistance at all. But moving the articulation lever here as opposed to down here, again, keeps you safer, keeps your hands away from any sharp bits, especially if that's in operation. So we've done quite a few things with this particular model to improve it over the second generation saws, which already were really great machines. However, there are additional safety features and electronic features that we've added to this machine that has not been on previous machines. The first thing that we've got is stop control. Okay, so this means if we bring that around very quickly.
I like this. This makes a lot of sense when it comes to the sort of the pièce de resistance that this machine actually does when we come to the later section. This makes a lot of sense.
Let's test the overhead, see if it's playing ball today. What have we got? Let's go, Ollie. Yes, I think it's thinking about it. You can let me know whether or not, in the chat, whether or not that is coming clear. You'll see there's a button here. Yeah, it's thinking about it. Wow. Okay, let's try using the other camera. We made that difficult for it. Let's go to the close-up cam. You see there is a button on the side here which says SC. Okay, there we go, got it. Okay, so I can toggle that on or off. So what SC stands for is, again, as I said, that's stop control. What that means is when you're doing your cutting and the machine comes, that you're cutting through your material and you finish your cut, the machine will automatically detect the reduced resistance on the motor and switch off automatically. Again, it's just a nice added safety feature. You can switch it off if you don't want, but again, especially if you're running long boards,
Yes.
okay, maybe you can't see exactly where the end is, so added a little safety and a little bit of energy saving automatically switches off.
Yeah.
One other feature this machine has, although I must admit, if I'm being perfectly honest, pretty much all our machines, all our 18-volt circular saws had some form of kickback control. This one now has we're obviously now making sure that everyone is aware that this machine has kickback control as well.
Yeah, it's always been there, but we've never sort of written it all over the side of the machine or anything like that.
That's right.
But
So
on this one, we've made a deal out of it.
So if you are being a bit aggressive, maybe you're doing some plunge cutting when you shouldn't be, and the machine was to bind and potentially jump, luckily the electronics in this machine will detect that peak in voltage and disable the machine, preventing it from, well, causing any accidental injury in theory.
Yeah, it's the same system that we've used.
That's right.
For many other machines in the past.
Okay, so that's the machine in a nutshell. We'll pause very quickly because I think Dharma might have a few questions, and then we'll move on to what makes this a GX system. Dharma, what have you got?
Yep. So firstly, we have a question about the machine itself. So is this GKS 18V57 2GX compatible with Bosch current guide rail tracks?
Yes.
Yes,
We
100%.
neglected to bring one in. At some point, I'm going to run off and go and grab one from the workshop just to prove the point. Or you can just take my word for it. These are 100% compatible, and backwards compatible with our FSN guide rail system, but it's not just our guide rails as well. Just like the previous guide rail compatible, the G models, they also fit the
It's the Festal.
Festal and
Mefel.
yes,
It is Mefel.
yeah, cool. So
You
just start the old one.
You can see under here the original strip here, which runs on our FSN guide rail system, and the other brand's one runs on this larger one here.
If you look on the top, we actually color code it as well.
Yeah, it's actually color coded in green. So, in fact, right next to it for the Bosch one, it's color coded in blue.
Exactly. So yeah, no problems. Just like you would expect, backwards compatible with the standard FSN for the 800s, 1600s, etc., etc. Not a problem.
Great. So we had some other questions. So firstly, will there be coming Pro Core Plus versions of 4AH and 12AH?
Oh, you've jumped the gun already. We talked about this in a previous live stream in regards to our tabless cell technology. At the moment, it's currently only in the 8 amp hour Pro cores. Now, we alluded that obviously we were going to have a rolling update where our standard, pretty good standard, Pro Core 18V batteries will be having a rolling update to go onto the tabless cells, right, Dan?
Yes, I think if you think about it as an evolution of cell technology, gradually people are going to stop using the 21700 cells, or standard 21700 cells, and as everyone moves to tablets, it's just going to be a natural progression. So yes, there will be Pro Core 18 volt plus in varying different capacities or amp hours.
How many more questions have we got, Dharma? Because I was going to say, I might wander off very quickly and grab a standard FSN guide rail so you can show it. Have we got a few more questions that Danny can answer while I go off?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, 1 second. You carry on, Dan. I'm going to go grab a rail.
Yeah, certainly.
Okay. So another question is, when will we get the GSR 12V30 with metal chuck?
Oh, I haven't heard of anything 12 volt with a metal chuck as yet. It will be very nice though. The only issue I think so far or previously with having a metal chuck on a 12 volt is just due to the rotating weight of the chuck. So I haven't heard anything about a metal chuck on the 12 volt machines, unfortunately, not yet. But then again, we do get swiped by some of these products turning up, and the specs sometimes are not what we expect. So who knows? But if it does, or if there's anything that comes to the 12 volt range with a metal chuck, So far as combis or drill drivers, you'll be the first to know.
I think Chris is back, so he'll do his demonstration now.
Oh, don't get too excited. All he said, just got a standard FSN guide rail just to prove the point to one of our, who was our contributor who was asking about it. It's standard guide rail compatible.
I'll put this on full depth, so we're not actually going to dig into the desk with it. If I pop that there, drop straight onto the original system. I'll leave the guard resting there, but as you can see, fully compatible, no problem there at all.
No. Okay, cool. Right. What question did you get there, Dan? What were they asking about?
12 volt combi drill driver with metal chuck.
That would be nice.
It would be very nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But I certainly haven't heard of it.
What else? Any more, Dan, or should we move on?
Just one more about the specific machine. So isn't the RPM fast enough for this GKS 18V57 2GX to get the bi-turbo rubber stamp?
It's not about speed. It's about wattage.
Wattage equivalent.
Wattage equivalent. So we would always say that a machine wants to be in the region of 1,000 to 1,100 corded equivalent wattage to get that bi-turbo sticker.
That's your threshold, basically, to become a bi-turbo machine.
That's right. And
so as soon as the motors get bigger, that's when it qualifies to be a bi-turbo machine.
And obviously then the machine would warrant or require, really, to get that full potential, going to be a bi-turbo, sorry, a Procore battery.
Yeah.
We're not dictating here with this particular machine that it needs a Procore 18V battery. However, as this is a circular saw, I personally would always thoroughly recommend going for a double layer Procore 18V battery because it really benefits.
If you've got one, yes, it's a serious upgrade to any of the machines that we do in the 18 volt range.
Yeah. If you're going to use a circular saw heavily, just a standard 18 volt one, because again that Procore 18V battery has so much extra headroom when it comes to current draw, it's a logical upgrade. But we're not keying anyone out. Perfectly fine, works absolutely perfectly on a standard cool pack battery, but again, gives you the option to upgrade if you want to in the future.
As we covered before, the cool pack batteries are batteries that we've had, our original lithium ion batteries. Now they are equivalent of 45 amps corded equivalent, whereas a Procore is 90 amps corded equivalent, so double the amps and double the wattage as well, from 800 watt up to 1600 watt. So the power's there. If your machine requires it, a Procore will always be a benefit.
Of course, yeah. I mean, with many tools, you probably don't actually access that extra power from a Procore battery. But as I said again and again, circular saws, they're quite power hungry. So that's a good candidate for a non-bi-turbo machine, but really benefiting from Procore. I can't say that enough. It really does. So if you've got a circular saw, if you're going for one of these new Generation 2 models, definitely consider upgrading. Just maybe buy a couple. Well, obviously buy a couple of Procore, of course, but it does really help benefit.
Yeah, not only are you going to benefit from the added or the increased efficiency of the second generation motors in these, but a Procore again. It's belt and braces so far as power availability.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we cut just again to the close-up camera, you can see how narrow, how small this machine is. It all sits within the perimeter of the base plate. With the older, I say older, it is older, the Generation 1 machines, they were quite bigger. This is, it's such a nice, tidy package, absolutely. Again, I've gone on about it. This is probably one of my contenders for, tool of the year.
Yes.
So when we do our Christmas special, this is going to be up there.
Older, yeah.
Right. Okay, we've had enough questions, I think, for now. Okay, so we're going to move on to the point. What makes this a GX model?
Yes.
Okay, so it's all to do with a new range of guide rails that we've got coming to the market.
Yes, these ones are specific fitment for this particular model. I think it stands to reason that there'll be more models that will be available to work alongside this FSN system, or the new FSN system, the FSN X system.
That's right. So let's get the first one. Let's get the smaller of the three out first.
The small one.
And we'll show you what it is. We'll put it on the machine, and then we'll explain to those who may not be familiar with this type of system what the benefit is to you.
Yeah. So this is the FSN 300X. 300 refers to, sorry, I put that upside down. 300 refers to the working length here, and you can tell that from the anti-splinter strip on here. These have come straight out the box, by the way. So obviously the first time you get these, run the blade down them to make the rubber strip to the blade, so you're going to get the absolute perfect finish every time. This is designed to fit to the base of the machine itself. If you've got the machine there, and I shall, this is one of the challenges of being live. It simply slots into the front there. You drop it down onto the guide rail and you slide it into position like that. So it's actually fitted to the machine.
Now, why is this a benefit? Well, one, if you are used to using guide rails, when you're placing it onto material, you obviously, in theory, we would recommend you clamp them on, or you can try and rely on the friction pads on the back, which are pretty good, but sometimes you'd like to clamp them.
You'd have to provide a fair bit of downwards pressure to make sure it doesn't slip around on the material. And of course, if you've got a rough material, then those silicone strips underneath aren't necessarily going to fix down. Particularly tough.
That's right. Now, so the operation of doing any kind of those cuts with an FSN system can be a little bit cumbersome. It's not necessarily the quickest, although yes, the FSN guide rail system gives you really accurate straight cuts. As Danny pointed out there, you see, this is almost, I mean, I would argue, could be a one-handed operation. So now you've got a guide rail that is going to be attached to the machine. You'll be able to do your cuts, and then the machine will reset back. Just realise, because it's not mated, that's quite stiff.
Yes, yeah, it's not where the blade's not mated.
Might show you on another. Once we'll get the next
size up.
Next size up, which is already mated, and show you exactly how this works. However, let's set the machine off for a second and show them the FSN guide, the FSN X system.
Yes.
And what makes this unique compared to your normal FSN system.
If I turn that round there, to remove it from the guide rail, you just push the machine forwards and you push this little button here up and it slides straight off.
It's easy on camera, so we can show you exactly how it's done.
There you go, push down and then straight off. So really easy to take off and put back on the guide rail system.
Right, so let's show the back of an FSN 300X, and this is what makes it different to a normal FSN guide rail.
Yes. Again, I'm waving it around in front of my face here. So, one of these pegs, this one just here, is fixed permanently in that position. However, this one here is adjustable. So there's a little wing nut on the top there, and you can slide that up and down the rail. I'll do it just there. And there's detents for specific angles. So if I set this, for instance, for 45 degrees. So I tighten that back up again, if I remember which way to turn it. There you go. So when I line this up against a piece of material that I want to cut, I make sure, I don't know whether you can see from that angle, I push up the fixed pin here and I rotate around till the other pin touches it, and that gives me my 45 degrees there. I don't know whether we can get that on the overhead.
No, it's probably a bit too large, but it's quite simple. You've got those two index points.
Yep. It gives you fixed points there. You can adjust this. It doesn't have to be at any of the detents. You can pick a specific angle. If you've got an angle that you want to measure and replicate, then you can do exactly that with this as well, and you can lock it off wherever you like. But this gives you the ability and the precision to have a compound miter saw. Remember, you've got the bevel on the machine and you've got the miter on the actual guide rail to perform basically the same operations that you would on a compound miter saw, however, single-handedly.
Single-handedly, yeah, and without obviously the bulk and inconvenience of running a miter saw, whether it's cordless or not. So the FSN 300X system allows you to, as you can see here from the scale, go from -45 up to +60 degrees. So a lot of versatility, even on the smallest one here. The 300 stands for that working length, which is this section here, so 300 millimeters. We go to the one above it, which is going to be the 440, Dan. I'll grab that.
You have that one. And the 440. You can see this one's a little dusty because I've been using this one pretty much non-stop since we got it. Fantastic bit of kit, by the way. Really, really useful. Yeah,
so 440 millimeters working length.
There you go.
Giving you, along the top now, you've got plus and -60, so even more degrees to work with.
Exactly.
Now, if we pop that on, Dan, because obviously, as Dan said, this one's mated, so we can show you the full travel and return that the system allows you.
Yeah.
Because again, you can obviously attach this, or not attach, you can obviously apply this to your application, set your angles, and then one-handed, line them up, do your cut, and back again. So this is excellent if you're doing things like cutting roof lathing, small beams, if you're working with like window frames, if you're working in, and, roofing is a good example, but especially if you are wanting to steady yourself and do single-handed cuts across that, or you're cutting beams or whatever to the same angle over and over and over again. You don't have to take it down, cut it. You can cut it in situ.
Yeah, and you haven't got to worry about after you cut having to manually return it. There's an elastomer at the bottom of the actual rail here that pulls the whole system back and resets it for you, ready for the next cut.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, you can demonstrate that now, can't you?
So there you go. So all the way up to the full working length there, maybe a little bit more actually, to be fair, and all the way back. And then it resets the garters again as soon as we get back to the starting point.
Now you'll notice, if I tilt that over just a little bit, you'll also see that, I mean, people sometimes ask, and maybe we might have this question, Dharma's got a few questions already, there's an angle here when you might be used to the FSN guide rail systems, which are obviously squared off.
Yep.
And this is obviously to allow you to work closer to the corners of material.
Exactly, yeah.
As opposed to having this blocking you, so to speak, so you can get the maximum amount of cut when working in corners.
Yeah.
So we thought about that as well. Before we get to the questions, we'll go through to the final and the largest or longest one that we've got in the range. And Dan, you might as well bring that one up as well.
I've got that one down here.
The
Oh. So this is the FSN 740X. Have I got that the right way up? No, I haven't. That's difficult. There you go. So 740 millimeters of length on this particular one. The angles are not longer than the previous one that we were looking at. So 60 degrees in one direction and 60 degrees in the other there. So again, a longer version of the 440 that we've looked at already.
That's right. So now you've got those three sizes, 300, 440, and this 740 millimeters. So we've got a really good wide range of lengths for you to choose from. I'll anticipate one question that we might get, which is, can you combine these together like we did with the traditional FSN? Unfortunately, not due to this system, not currently, because of that return elastomer that we have, that mechanism that we have currently. However, maybe in the future, we might have the ability to have a more basic version that you can extend. It just wouldn't have that return elastomer.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dharma, any questions?
Yeah, so you might have covered this just now actually, but I'm going to ask it
I knew it.
anyway. Yeah, can you extend that with the FSN VL?
See, this isn't my first rodeo. It's an obvious and very logical question. Not currently, as I said, but I reckon that's something that we fed back to the product designers and said, this will be one of the first questions I'm sure we're going to get asked. And you've proven my point.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There's a lot more going on inside this rail with the elastomer system, so it doesn't have the same recess that the VEL, the FSN VEL, the attachment system to fit into. So no, there's no. If there was, like you said,
You might make something.
an ability to attach it to another one, it would have to be a different system to do that.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So another question is, are the older bi-turbo circular saws compatible with the new guide rail system?
With the old or the new?
The older bi-turbo circular saws, are they compatible with the new guide rail
This one,
system?
with the FSN X,
No.
It's in the name, okay? So the existing bi-turbo machines are G models, and this is the first GX, and it's the X that's the important part. Remember, X always means something novel or hybrid for Bosch, so it needs to be a GX model to fit with the FSN X system.
Yeah, the base plates are completely different. Obviously, it's not just the visual of it with the open side to it. It's actually the castings and everything are completely different to be able to accommodate this fitting mechanism at the end here.
Fingers crossed, what will happen in the future potentially is, I'm hoping so, that we'll get a bi-turbo brushless, maybe a 68 millimeter depth of cut GX model to go with the system. Because trust me, we're not going to leave it with just one machine running the FSN system. So we'll see see what comes in the future. Yeah.
And is this particular saw made for a specialized purpose like roofing and siding, as I foresee using this saw for cutting wood for this specific purpose?
Yeah, that's
roofing is probably is the absolute perfect solution. This is the absolute perfect solution for woodworking. So you're not having to pass lathing or roof trusses back, well, not literally roof trusses, but roof timbers back down to ground level to use a compound miter saw. You can do that actually in situ.
Again, as you say, it's up in the attic. It's upstairs. You're cutting beams to length. You're even cutting the lathing to length. You might be even cutting like the boards to a certain angle to accommodate that loft space. So you can do literally all of those types of cuts.
Boarding out would be perfect. Absolutely perfect for that. Yeah.
So, as I said, it's going to be one of my tools of the year, and hopefully everyone watching is seeing exactly how versatile this could be. We're only we're only really scratching the surface of what it could be used for. Everyone who's in the business will be looking at this and going, I can see a use for this. Yeah. So I'm glad that when we finally came out with a guide rail circular saw, compatible generation 2, that we decided to push it out a little bit. come out with an entirely new system for us.
I know you've used it a couple of times, but I've literally not put a battery in a compound miter saw since it's been here.
Yes.
All of the jobs that I've had to do, small woodworking jobs, that I've all picked up something like this and used these. That's absolutely groundbreaking. That's a strong term, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
as far as I'm concerned.
So
yeah.
if this product, this system, because it's not just the product, so now it's a complete system, is something that you are interested in, feel free to pop in the comments that this is what you're looking for. If there's anything else that you think would be beneficial for this type of machine, let us know. But I think we might have covered quite a few things here.
Yes,
I think we've covered quite a few bases of this machine. But again, let us know in the comments, either if you've watching this video live, or if you've watched this after it's gone live. Feel free to pop your comments in and let me know what you think. Is this going to be our product of the year? I don't know. Maybe one of the machines coming up in a minute might be.
Maybe,
So
yes.
let's move on to the next product in the range.
Oh, we're on
brand
to
new.
these now. Lovely.
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
So from something you probably didn't know about, or from this product that you probably didn't know you wanted and needed, and how you do, let's go on to something, at least one of the machines that I reckon you probably have been asking for.
I think that's an understatement, to be fair.
What have you got
so
then?
we have, I've got to find it first. There we go. We have the GLF 18V-8, and yes, your eyes do not deceive you. It is a palm router, 1/4 inch, really nice, actually for its size, very powerful palm router. Fantastic bit of kit. Yep, takes any of the batteries, to be fair. Yeah, really easy setup. Lots of bells and whistles to talk about with this one.
Right. Okay. But I don't want to get too excited because there's something more important to show. But let's talk about this product first. Yes, it is an 18-volt palm router. Okay. It is a 1/4 inch router. You said this already. Peak output of 600 watts.
Yep.
It has a speed dial on the back here, which allows you to go from 10,000 all the way up to 30,000 RPM. Okay, so good performance, good power. You can see it's quite it's not a particularly large machine, nice and compact. It's got straightforward ergonomics, a nice little switch on the front there as well. It's got LEDs, and it's also potentially going to have a nice little drop control system as well.
Yes.
Okay, so who's this for? Well, originally these kinds of routers, or palm routers generally, came from those edging and laminate routers. So this is what we call a laminate router. That's why we call it a GLF, as opposed to some other machines which are called GKFs or GOFs or GMFs, for example.
Probably important to mention, ignore the sticker on the side there. This is a marketing sample version that we have here, and it doesn't have the correct sticker on it. So.
That's correct. So this will be coming very shortly. The circular saw that we saw previously is already available to buy in the market, as well as all the different FSN-X rails. This one's coming out a little later in the year. And don't worry, trust me, the one you want is coming soon, trust me. But if you are in the market for a cost-effective laminate or edging router, but you don't want to spend too much money, then this particular model is the one specifically for you. Okay, so because obviously if you are doing primarily edge routing, okay, and that is primarily all you're needing to do. Maybe you're doing things like hinges, lock mortising, for example. Again, profiling, flush, trimming, for example, or just some joinery work, and you're not needing a lot of power for these applications, this might be the ideal router for you.
Yeah, you've still got plenty of rotation speed there to get the job done. However, 600 watt equivalent is plenty for many of those jobs.
Yeah, it's a brushless motor, so you've got a nice efficient motor. We haven't skimped on it, we haven't gone back to brushed or anything like that. The adjustment is really straightforward. You literally just loosen this nut here, and then you can use the simple wheel here to adjust your depth adjustment. There we go. Do it with the overhead camera there. It's as simple as that. The little red knob here is your
spindle lock.
Spindle lock.
Maybe we can pop that out if you like.
Yeah, let's do that.
There you go. Pop that all the way out of the top there. We've got a standard spindle lock there, so you rotate that push button spindle lock, and there's your multi-bit collet on this. So this one here, you can see it's got 4 jaws there. See, four keyways on there. So this one you can tighten down, I think to 6mm as well on this one.
Yeah, I think we'll find out closer to the date whether or not we're going to supply this with purely a 1/4 inch collet, or whether or not we're going to go for this type of collet, which is the multi collet, which is again is quarter.
6 mil
Yeah.
and 6.35, which is 1/4 inch.
Exactly, yeah. So we're giving a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah.
Now, there's a few things that, there's one specific thing that we add to the all executions of this product. So in the carton or the scope of delivery of this machine is we will have a number of accessories. Okay, and we've got our our flush trim roller guide. So remember, this machine, we have spec this up for people that are primarily going to be doing edging. Okay.
There we go. I'll pop it on the machine there for you so you can see it.
Wow. So the advantage here is it means you can use your normal non-roller bearing guide router bits, so your cheaper router bits, for example. But you can use this guide here to allow you to use those bits. This guide also gives you a few extra little bits of functionality because obviously you can adjust by the height as well.
Yes.
So you don't have to buy a whole range of different dedicated router bits at different heights when you've got this roller guide.
Yeah, bearing routers, router bits can obviously quite often be quite a bit more expensive than your standard router bits. So this gives you the option of having a fully adjustable. So you've got the lock wing nut on the bottom here and the adjustment wing nut to put that bearing exactly where you need it. So you're getting the right depth of cut for that trim routing.
Cool. We also are supplying a nice, straightforward, standard parallel guide, Dan. You can
Yes.
wrap that over. Okay, so these kits these machines are coming with all the accessories we think you would need to do these kinds of applications. So that just clips onto the front.
That's your standard parallel guide. Yep. Anyone who's out there who's had a GKF 600 router will recognise this particular guide. So that pops on the top there. Actually, if I put it the right way around, it will fit even better.
I wasn't going to say anything.
There you go. There you go. So that pops on place there. And you've got your adjustment here, which allows you to set your parallel guide to whichever distance from the edge of the material. So this is perfect for rebating as well. So although Chris, you were saying before about doing edge routing with this, you can also rebate route with this. There's plenty of power there with that 600 watt equivalent.
Now, dust extraction, again, just like I mentioned before with the circular saw, dust control, dust management is particularly important to us at the moment. Should be to all of us and ongoing. Yes. So we also supply some nice little dust extraction accessories. So let's use that one first. Yep,
I've got this one here. This is for your surface routing. So that pops on there and literally just clips into place. There you go. So there you go. You've got your fully enclosed extractor guard on the front of the machine here.
Yeah, click and clean.
Click and clean, as you'd expect. You can also push fit on this as well, like you can with any of our click and clean fitment machines. Gives you full dust extraction when it comes to surface routing.
Yeah, okay. If I top this off, we'll also see, Dan, you've got an example of a new type of dust extraction guard that we haven't used before. That's actually probably, if I dare say it, probably allowing this machine and the one coming up, probably best in the market when it comes to edge routing dust extraction.
This machine and the one we're going to talk about after this do have outstanding dust extraction solutions for them. So it's something we can really hold our head up high when we're talking about them. So that clips onto the side of the machine there, as you'd expect, same as the parallel guide. That pops on there. People out there may recognise this kind of dust extraction hood from your like table router, something like that, where you'd actually run the material through the top of the head here. However, it sits just there. You've got a blanking plate across the front there, so you've got no dust extraction from above. However, it sucks it back out through the bottom there when it's sitting. There you go. It's sitting on the side of the piece of material that you're actually routing.
All right. So, okay. So what we've got here is the first of two 18-volt routers. Did you hear that?
Two
18-volt routers. We've had none for so long. You've correctly been giving us hell about the fact that we didn't have an 18-volt professional router. Right. So we've got the first one. We've got the GLF 18V-8. Before we move on, Dharma, do we have a few questions maybe on this machine, or are they already asking about what about another type of router?
There are some mentions of that, but firstly, lots of excitement for the routers.
Good.
So first question is, I have that. It's beautiful and it works beautifully. When will we get the plunge base for that? Would like to use it with an official Bosch accessory for the quality.
Right, so you want a plunge base for this particular model. There is a plunge base that is compatible with this one. We weren't going to really mention it because it is actually a green coloured base plate, plunge base. It's the one that fits on our DIY plunge base. It is compatible. However, there is a machine that's coming up in a minute that is far better and dedicated to be used for your plunge routing.
Yeah. Again, anyone who's out there and who's got a GKF 600, the corded 600 watt equivalent machine, well, the 600 watt machine is not equivalent. See, I got you too used to talking about cordless. We are talking about some accessory or an accessory that you may already have for your usual routing jobs, or especially your surface routing. I don't want to burst the bubble too quickly.
No, I will leave
You
that.
forgot to open the box, didn't you?
Yeah, I was going to show you something, but I'll show you in a minute while Dan's talking about the next product.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes, there is one, but trust me, as I said, the next machine is the one I think you will be more interested in if you are wanting to use a plunge base.
Yes.
Yeah, so this might lead nicely onto the next machine actually, but are there any plans for a bigger 18V router?
Half inch, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I can hear that. I can hear the echo of half inch. In the
Well, let's
background.
show you the. Well, let's answer a few more questions, and then let's show you the second of the two routers that we've got, and let's see whether or not you're still looking for more power.
Because the next router doesn't really follow the standard standard 1/4 inch power level, kind of. So we stepped up the power, obviously smaller router bits. So.
Yeah. Okay, so we're all good now. So that's perfect actually, because then we can lead on to really the router that I really want to talk about, and I think this is the one you would rather see. Have you got it on your side, Dan?
I do. You probably need that.
Yes, I'll work on that in a second. Okay, so
I have the same.
this is the machine you're all looking for. Let's pop it on the table. Yeah. This one is...
Let's all stand back in amazement of this particular machine.
Let's do it. Let's bask in its glory. Okay, here we go. This is the GKF 18V-8. Okay, this is our new flagship 18-volt palm router. Okay, now what makes this different? Well, a number of things. You can see from the actual aesthetics that we've obviously spent a bit more money on this one. We've obviously crafted this to be very, very ergonomic and made out of premium. It's premiumly made. It's got a lot of extra features. Let's start off with some of the basic features, of course, which is, yes, 18 volt. It's got a peak output power of 1000 watts of corded equivalent power. It has a variable speed wheel on the side here, okay, which goes again from 10,000 to 30,000 RPM. Okay, it has a soft start and a motor brake. Has dual LEDs. Let's see if I can just pop it on for a second. Okay. It might be hard for you to see on the camera, but this has dual LEDs in the bottom, which really helps reduce shadowing when you're working. So you've got clear
visibility,
clear visibility of the workpiece that you're working on. And again, this one is going to be featuring a form of drop control as well.
Yeah.
Now, what's this designed for? Well, again, you've gone up in that power from the GLF.
Remember when we were even looking at a corded 1/4 inch machine, we were looking at 600 watts. Now this one,
600 watts is this kind of performance, this machine.
So that's your corded version of the GKF 600. This one, peak output wattage of 1000 watts.
It's almost a bi-turbo machine. It could almost have been. So you've got a lot of power in a 1/4 inch router.
Yeah, and that means you can do jobs that historically you wouldn't use a 1/4 inch router to do.
If I pop to the overhead camera very quickly, I want to just show you some of the key features. First off, you can see that this is now a fully enclosed switch, as opposed to the straight, more rudimentary slide switch that we had on the GLF. This really helps with preventing dust ingress. As I said, this is your speed wheel on the side here. Now on the front, you've got a small clamp that you can obviously flip open. Slide this over to unlock it and then simply slide out. Very straightforward. On the bottom here, we have got, instead of a push fit spindle, we've got a very convenient to use spindle lock that just flips over like that.
So that's completely locked now. So you don't have to worry about applying pressure when you're tightening up your router bits.
Right. Honestly, I mean, it is a joy to even handle. It is so well built. Okay, slide that over. You'll see on this part here, we've got our fine adjustment wheel. So I can just adjust that very, very gently. See, I think in a minute we'll probably do some demonstrations. We'll set this up for some routing. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's very, very nice and fine. Lock it down. Ready to go.
Yeah.
Such a nicely well built machine. It's got some great ergonomics in how you handle the tool as well. So it's really good if you're using it in this orientation, for example, or maybe more likely you're going to be holding it like this if you're going to be doing your mortising, block mortising again. But again, it's very, very contoured, very nice to use, and feels great in the hand.
Yeah. Yeah, part of that's down to its compact nature. This is the most compact height of a router that's, I think, out there on the market. To be fair,
I think we're going to be bold enough to say that as of time of this recording, this is the most compact machine in regards to height from this power performance class 18-volt palm router. So I mean, yes, I'm really sorry it's taken a long time to come out with it. I mean, and hopefully you've all been very patient. And I was the same person. I was sitting there absolutely desperate for this machine to come out, and I was a bit concerned that if it came out, would it really meet my expectations? And if I'm honest, I would like to be always honest with you guys out there. This has blown me out of the. This has blown my expectations out of the water. The first time we used this, we were so surprised. Truly how much power this could run.
As far as I'm concerned, I've done some probably more extreme than most people would attempt with a 1/4-inch drive router, and it doesn't slow down. It just cuts. It's quite phenomenal in fact. Chris actually reminded me that I got it a little bit wrong on the previous router. This one here, when we talked about earlier, the dust extraction fits underneath when we're talking about edge routing. However, there's no base plate on the front here to encapsulate the front of the machine, partly for ease of access. We'd go have a nice window on the side here for access. However, with this machine, we've got an entire window that fits over the front of the machine here, locks down with this small thumb wheel here, and the underneath attachment for edge routing is there as well. And it's phenomenal dust extraction on this machine. Yeah.
Well, let's have a look at the dust extraction system, Danny, while we're there.
Yes. So if I pop the guard for this machine on there, I'll try and do this so you can see. So simply slot this in behind the washer on the back there. Tighten up the thumb screw, this one just here. And then when you fit the guard that covers this section here, there's a little pin on this side of the guard which drops in, quite simply like that. And then you just do that little thumb wheel there. Yeah, so it's very securely sealed away in there. And again, when you're edge routing, you can see there's virtually no area for the dust to escape. And obviously using a high draw extractor, obviously with wood, you'd recommend using an M-class extractor anyway. All of that airflow is really going to pull all of that material away, and you're going to get very little, if any, escape from this guard.
That's right. And just like the GLF, it also comes with a a surface routing dust extraction adapter as well. So you get the complete kit as standard, regardless of what kind of scope of delivery you get. You also get the parallel guide. You have the ability again to upgrade both of these. You have the ability to upgrade this particular machine with a number of different accessories as well. Okay, I mean, it will be compatible with your edge roller bearing, but more importantly, there are a number of other things that one of our questioners have already asked, which is this going to work with, or can this work with a plunge base? Well, you remember this good old bad boy, the TE600 plunge base, you'll see that it is also compatible with this new GKF 18V-8.
You're going to let me do this, aren't you? I never seem to have much luck with this. I think you better have a go with it.
It's cool, no problems.
Old fingers and thumbs when it comes to that.
Look at that. It's like I've done that before. Okay, so now here we go. This is what you've been looking for. You've been looking for a... Switch that off. There we go. Okay, so you're looking for your 18 volt with plunge, your well, for whatever you
all
need
your
it for,
plunging
for all
needs.
your plunging needs. Okay, so this is what you've been asking for. I'm so glad that we can actually deliver it in this with a great wide range of accessories that are compatible. Obviously, the TE600 is an established product. It has its own range of dust extraction accessories. You might even have the premium parallel guide as well as the vacuum adapter, which you've got on the wall behind you. So
Fully guide bushing compatible as well with our range of guide bushings. This is the premium parallel guide, so very fine adjustment on this particular guide, but as you'd expect with the TE600 that's been out there for quite some time, slides straight into the side there, and you've got your, I think we put the little thumb wheels around somewhere, but
yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to set it all up, but you can see that what we've done when we brought out this new 18-volt router, we wanted to make sure that there's a whole bunch of existing accessories that will already fit it. And we're also going to be bringing out a number of other accessories to go with that. I mean, as I said, because this fits the TE600, it will fit with a wide range of FSN accessories, like you've seen.
Yeah, the FSN OFA.
Yep.
So the we colourfully call it the Starship Enterprise.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, the base that actually slots onto the guide rail system. So.
This machine will also come with an offset base, so really useful if you're trying to get into difficult places. It'll have a tilt base, so if you are wanting to route on an angle, it'll allow you to do that. This is also compatible with the flush trim roller bearing, the one that we showed you, this thing here, that comes with the GLF. We are going to review and bring out, I think we're going to bring out specifically to the UK, we're going to have the correct template guide sets
yes,
as well.
We're going to have,
to make sure you get that.
Yep, so that's going to be sorted out. They're actually really quite nice blow molded case of all of the metric or imperial sizes that you may desire. I think that largely over here we use metric for guide bushings.
That's right, yeah. And again, there's a whole range of other accessories. I think what we'll do is we'll probably have to do a dedicated video. Maybe we'll do another live stream just looking at some of the router accessories and maybe looking at this in a bit more detail if that's what you like to look at. Because there's even other things like the FSN OFZ circle cutting guide. And there's going to be a whole bunch of other different base plates that's going to fit the bottom of this machine if that's how you like. If you'd like to have something that isn't, say, a circular base plate, for example, like this, we might have a square one and also a D-shaped offset.
It's going to be a D-shaped one with a couple of little finger plates so you can hold the material down and get a little bit more control there. When we talk about the offset base, anyone who's used to using the 12 volt, the little 12 volt router, I absolutely love that machine. That's an offset base on that, and that allows you to have more flat surface in contact with the material because you can rotate the router around. I think it's a good beginner router, to be fair, with the 12 volt, and it's got loads of power as well. But again, there's a base that will fit this particular model that will do exactly the same thing, so you'll have an offset drive.
That's right, yeah. Again, if you're in the market for this machine and you've been patient and waited for us, you will not be disappointed. And I honestly, I put my reputation on the line there. This machine has really, really impressed me.
Don't let the fact that it's a 1/4 inch drive put you off the absolute power of this machine.
Right, Dharma, I presume we've got questions.
Yes. So firstly, when is the release of the GKF 18V8?
Right, it should be available now. The GLF has been not delayed, but this is having this has a slightly later release date. The GKF, the one we really want, the one that I'm actually really interested. This is my second on the list for product of the year. That should already be available now. You'd have to double check with your local distribution, your dealer, to see whether or not they've got any stock. If not, I'd recommend you just get them to order it in. I'm sure they can do that for you. So I would say available now in the UK.
Yeah. Another question about it is the GKF 18V8 is listed as a kit with the TE600 plunge and L-Box 238 base on the German Bosch site, but not the UK one. Will this kit be coming to the UK site?
I don't know yet. I'll have to double check with the gentleman who does all our releases to see whether or not that execution is going to be coming to the UK. It's not currently set to come to the UK. Again, we'll have to see how big the demand is. Obviously, you can still just purchase the TE600 base on its own. I don't know whether or not there's a massive cost saving on the German one, but I'm presuming you're probably liking it because it has a nice inlay system.
Yeah.
So we'll double check that. I think currently at the moment, I'm not sure that we're going to have that kit version, but if there's demand for it, perhaps maybe we will we'll get our launch manager to review that and see whether or not we can get it in.
Yeah. Final question for now, but this has been a very popular question today. Are there any new 12V tools out coming soon?
Yes.
It's a short answer.
Yeah,
Not a few words.
We can't say too much, of course, because
there's some really good ones.
they're not coming out this year. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
However, there are more than one coming out at some point next year.
Yeah.
And again, they'll be moving into another segment that we haven't really been in that much. Not when it comes to cordless, but we have had some of these in the corded range.
Yes.
But not to this precision, I guess. This is a very, very, let's just say, yes, there are some 12-volt machines coming.
Yes.
Very interesting ones. And whole accessory systems to go with it as well.
I think you might be thinking about different 12-volt systems.
No,
I'm thinking about quite, Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're thinking of the same. Yeah. So, but as I said, that's a complete system coming with that, an accessory system to come with it.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay, so Dan, we took that opportunity to potentially set up for a very quick demonstration.
Potentially set up. Yes.
I'm just looking over to see whether or not you actually said it all already. You did, perfect. So we thought, look, we don't do enough demonstrations, normally because the studio is not really set up. It's not really an ideal messy place to work. Not a place that we want to make too much mess. However, we've already mentioned that the dust extraction on the GKF 18V-8 with the edge routing dust extraction guard, as well as that blanking plate that covers on the top, was remarkably clean.
Yeah.
To be honest. I'll give you a 4 amp hour battery.
I'm still only half set up here.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll keep talking for a second.
You can keep
talking. Yeah. This really surprised me. We were trying to film some video content previously on this product. We're doing a few little short videos. Unfortunately, it didn't even look like it was doing anything. Obviously, the router bits we were using were really good. We were doing some edge routing on some hardwood, and it didn't look like it was actually doing anything, because normally you'd want to see a bit of the dust particles coming out to show that the machine's doing something. But when we did that filming, the dust extraction was a bit too good. So it looked like it was fake. It looked like we were just CGI a nice chamfered edge on it instead. So what we've got I've really picked a nice bit of hardwood worktop here. So again, this obviously work on any wood you want to use it on, but obviously we're going to tax it with a bit of hardwood. If you listen while we're running the router over the piece of timber, you'll notice that the speed just does not change. It just carries on going. No problems there at all. Okay, so click and clean dust extraction.
Yep, so that just pops straight on there. There you go. Pop that just there for the time being. I have, let's check that battery is, This is when I've managed to wipe everything off of the table with the hose.
Let's see how we go.
I'm going to, not that I doubt the dust extraction, but I will move my drink out the way.
What are we running? We're just doing a 1/4 inch round over bit, yeah? With a roller bearing.
1/4 inch round over bit. I think it's a 12mm. So we're looking for a 12mm round over, or just on the front of this piece of timber here. Yeah,
now you might not be able to hear it because sometimes our microphones do a bit of what we call gating. But we're not going to be running any ear protection for this particular one. Short exposure, but again, it's not a particularly loud machine. It's just
it won't be a particularly dramatic demo either, because it's almost effortless.
I'll switch the 18-volt vac on for you.
Yep. There you go. Oh, hang on! I've just pulled the end of the hose out of there. There you go.
Oh, you've got to love a live demo, right?
Yes, I knew something's going to happen. There you go.
Now, what was I going to say?
Someone's undone that on purpose.
Yeah, maybe.
One of you lot.
Now, we were tempted to do a demonstration on the GLF, doing some edge routing as well. We chose to go for this machine, again, because this one is the best performing. We will be doing some form of video content, probably doing a side-by-side showing performance differences, maybe even doing some comparisons against some of our corded routers as well. Okay.
There you go. I think we're set up now. Right, ready? There you go. I was being a little conservative with the speed there, but you can certainly see it's really gone through that material very quickly.
And dust-wise, There's very, very little. So if you were working in property, obviously we'll still recommend, if you're doing more than what we've done, use some PPE, of course. But the dust that produced by this is very, very minimal.
Yeah.
So, as in, we make bold claims sometimes. Well, when we make bold claims, and we're very conservative when we make these claims, talking about best-in-class dust extraction, especially for edge routing.
Yeah.
Genuinely, we are not messing about. We really mean it. Cool.
Yeah. Can
Okay.
you get the overhead? We'll see if we can get a closer shot of it.
I think it's going to be too smooth. It might not be even to focus on it. Look at it.
That-
Too
it's
smooth
not
to
gonna-
focus. There you
Hey, look at that. That's lovely.
go. Yeah. Very, very nice.
Take my word for it. That's smooth.
Okay, right. So, Dharma, I don't think we've got any more questions on this. Should we move on to the next machine, shall we? Okay, so I've got this one on my side. Okay. Okay, staying on the topic of woodworking. We're looking at this machine here. I'm pretty sure if you know what it is, you know what it is, right? But we call this a GFF 18V-22. Okay, this is a biscuit jointer, an 18-volt biscuit jointer specifically. We had a corded model in the range originally, and it's taken some time before we've actually brought out a 18-volt version.
Yeah.
Why did we delay? I can't tell you, to be honest, but I'm glad that we've got it already. Now, what we're looking at here, obviously 18-volt brushless motor machine, okay, giving you a corded equivalent power of 700 watts, has a no load speed of 1100 RPM, has a max cutter diameter of 105 millimeters, and a max cutting depth of, as it in the name, 22 millimeters. I might be able to open this up. I might have to take some of these bits off to show you.
Yeah. Interestingly, I hadn't actually used a biscuit joint. I don't think you had up until the point that this arrived. Genuinely surprised at how easy it was to set up.
Yeah.
Really straightforward.
All right, so there you go. You'll see the actual. Oh no, there's no cutting blade. It's still in the box. Oh dear. I'll grab that in a minute. Okay, so.
Tell you what, I'll pop
yeah, you
off
grab that
and I'll
for
go
me.
and grab that one.
Okay, so actually maybe we'll fit that while we're there. Actually, so I'm sure people out there are aware of what you use a biscuit jointer for. I think Dan's gone and left the room. Don't tell him. The box is down there. So. Obviously, if you are a woodworker, you'll know what a biscuit joint is used for. However, I think there are many other options out there. If you're wanting to use, dominoes, for example, it's a good way. Some people don't bother with those features and they will go with different alternative solutions. However, there are still many out there that still like using biscuits for doing joining of wood. Now, I can't profess that I am the best woodworker out there. There are many people out there that are far more talented when it comes to woodworking. However, every time that I've used this in demonstrations when we're doing our training, I've been amazed by genuinely how straightforward and how simple it is to both set up. You've got your adjustment wheels on the side here for your angle. You have this bit on the top that adjusts the different height as well. Actually, yeah, Dan's got the alternative model, so he can come on and show. Right. On the back here, you'll see that we have the depth adjustment. We have a small adjustment rod on the back here. There we go, thank you. Okay, that allows you to limit the plunge depth. Okay, and you've got a preset wheel here that allows you to change that and limit the depth depending on what type of biscuit essentially you're going to be using, because that limits the depth of cut. So Dan's got one that we've already set up with the blade in there already.
Back section.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, so
All of that work is quite undramatic, isn't it? It's, yeah, there's a blade in there, funnily enough. But yes, this is one we actually used. This one. This was I was very impressed with this.
now we were considering whether or not we'll do a demonstration on this. However, they take a little bit more preparation. Again, the dust extraction is pretty good. You can see it's an onboard one. It can be used via the normal friction fit extraction hose that you can put onto this machine to improve the dust extraction, as opposed to using the little bag that you get, which is still pretty sufficient, pretty good nonetheless.
Yeah, it's not like you're putting out large particles from this particular machine. It's literally dust that you're producing. It's quite fine. So a bag like this actually does remarkably collect quite a lot of material.
Yeah, I mean, anything else we can mention apart from the fact that you obviously can see that the design is obviously based on one of our small 18-volt angle grinders. It's a great thing to base it off because the grip circumference is already quite slim. It's only 156 millimeters. It's a very nice, compact machine, nice lightweight, and again, the action is nice and smooth as well. All the adjustments are done here via the levers here to lock and unlock, and then on the back here to adjust based on the height of the material that you're working with. Dharma, have you got any questions?
Yeah. So, I mean, firstly, people are also very happy about the biscuit jointer.
Oh, who's that? Who's happy?
PF Cutters and Eduardo.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you. Sorry. Again, I can only apologise that it's taken us so long to come out with one. But if you are in the market for one, you won't be disappointed. I mean, as I said, biscuit jointers aren't necessarily the most revolutionary products. There's not much we can do to improve it. We tried our best to make it efficient, lightweight, running on a very nice system. Very nice system indeed.
Yeah, so the questions were, do you have replacement blades and all accessories available for this biscuit jointer?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just trying to double check my notes to find out exactly how big the blade is because it's a slightly different blade than many of the other ones out there in the market.
Yeah.
I'll have to double check later and come back to you because I keep forgetting what it is. I keep thinking it's going to be 105.
From memory, I think the only thing we're not going to be producing is biscuits. Unless I might be wrong, am I? What do you think?
I don't know.
I don't think
I don't
we'll
know.
produce
I'll have
it,
to double check with our accessory people if we're
Yeah.
going to be doing that, but I can't tell you just yet.
No.
Yes, it's 105 millimeters.
Right.
105 millimeter blade. I can double check the bore on that, but it is a specific blade for this machine,
Yeah.
and the accessories are already available. There aren't too many you get actually. In the box, you obviously get the blade, you get the dust bag, and you'll get this. Essentially, like a spacer. That means if the material that you're trying to biscuit is too narrow or too not high enough, then you can obviously place this on the plate here, so you've still got. So you're still able to do that. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the union that holds the M4, well, not M14, but the flange that holds the blade on is covering the specs of the blade. So
Yeah, it's M10.
yeah, it'll be M10.
M10, yeah.
So another question is, how is the feel and ergonomics in the hand of this biscuit jointer?
How does it feel?
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, it's very obviously a lot of the weight is here, but it's good. It gives some stability. The handle and the grip, it's
nicely balanced,
nothing
isn't
at
it?
all.
Yeah.
It's a very nice ergonomics. Very comfortable, and it gives you good purchase when you're applying pressure. As I said, the actual mechanism itself isn't very heavy at all. It's very reassuring. It's not too light. It's not too heavy. You get good feedback from it. Yeah.
Well, the handle itself is very similar to our 700 watt equivalent grinder, and people use grinders for extended periods of time, so it's quite a well established ergonomic design for the handle for use for long periods of time. So yeah, ergonomic wise,
Yeah,
I mean, very comfortable to use.
I mean, everything on it's tool free as well, with the exception of the blade change. Okay, so all the adjustments, you don't need any tools, and even the fine adjustment, everything is easy to use. I mean, I guess you could argue that the only tool you need is a what's that? Phillips posi screwdriver.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Okay. I don't want to spend too much time on this one. I wish I could, of course. I think again, what we might do is we might have another go at doing a woodworking special, because we've had such a lot of new woodworking tools in this live stream alone, but over the last couple of years since we did the last 2 live streams on woodworking, maybe again then we'll do another special, and maybe we'll spend a bit more time doing some hands-on demonstrations with these machines, just to show you exactly how easy and straightforward it is.
The last one was incredibly popular. We know there's a lot of you guys out there who do a lot of woodworking, so yeah, it makes sense to focus down a little bit more on the subject again.
Yeah. Okay. Are we all good for questions, or?
Just a few more about the biscuit jointer. So,
Okay.
what's the runtime of it?
Well, the only kind of runtime we'd be able to give you would be some form of like no-load runtime, which we haven't got yet. I mean, I can try and find, or maybe you could, in the chat, you could give us the rough size of a biscuit that you work, because obviously the runtime is going to depend on the size or the depth of the cut that we'll be doing.
It's going to be tricky with a machine like this because it's literally on, perform it, off.
Yeah.
or
On.
three or four,
Exactly.
and then switched it back off again. So it's momentary usage rather
Yeah.
than long-term usage.
We won't be having any numbers. I'll see if I can find any numbers. I don't know whether or not I've got enough time in the day to do an actual exhaustion test. I'll be there. Let's just say I can imagine I'll be there for quite a while. It is a very efficient brushless motor. Okay, our batteries are really good when it comes to runtime. I think I'll be there for quite a while. But again, if you want me to do some quick tests, maybe give me a depth that you're looking at, and if I've got some time in the afternoon, I'll just switch it on and do it.
Yeah,
And spend a few hours probably.
we'll get through a fair bit of wood.
Yeah, okay. I've got some scrap wood kicking about, so let me know and I'll do some tests for you.
Okay, great. Final question for now is, how is this different from the previous model?
And the previous, well, the 18-volt battery.
Yes, the other one had a cord on it.
Yeah, the previous one was a mains machine. I believe I think it was still a 22.
Yes.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Yeah, as I said, we didn't have an 18-volt one. It was a big hole. Well, I thought it was a hole in our range.
We do actually have one in the storeroom. The head is almost identical. So you're looking at the same output for it. However, we've changed the back end to run it on a cordless system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was going to show some of the angles, but honestly, there's only three things to show. I just remembered I showed you obviously the ability to angle, to adjust the height of the thickness of the material, and then lastly the depth gauge and the plunging. Yes, I think I showed all of this. Yeah. Gosh, I'm really surprised. We've got quite a lot of interest on the biscuit jointer.
Yeah.
It's been one of those tools that I think, again, we haven't had, and people have quite rightly been saying, not as many people as been asking for, say, for example, the routers, but there's been a strong contingent of people wanting an 18-volt biscuit jointer. So there, we've done it secretly. We didn't know about this. It snuck up on us a little bit.
Yeah, I think that when we're talking about biscuit jointers, it's usually considered largely workshop workers, I would say, or cabinetry makers, who are usually inside with a readily available power supply to plug their machine in. Yeah, I'm surprised that the cordless one. I think I think it'll do really well. I think it's versatility and the fact that you're not trailing a cable round, which makes it fundamentally easier and most importantly safer. There's less trip hazards, isn't there?
And as I've already mentioned, it's a super efficient system running on you can run it on a Procore 18-volt battery if you want. You're going to have a lot of runtime. So the inconvenience of not having it plugged in is not an inconvenience. It's all pros as far as I'm concerned. Okay, cool. Right, biscuit jointer done. We've got to crack on. Do you know why? Because we are only scratching the surface.
Course,
This is going to be a long one. So you guys can have a cup of tea. We can't. We've got to keep working. So settle down, have a cup of tea, carry on watching because we've got plenty more to come. And now we're going to move on to a new kind of product, a new segment and type of product that we haven't had before.
You haven't let me have any of these over my side, have you?
No, I've got all of them because I love these ones. Right, so first machine up. This is going to be a challenge for our video team to get in because some of these machines are quite big. The first one we got here is going to be the GPT 18V-19. Okay, now this is the first of two 18-volt hydraulic press tools for all you plumbers out there.
Pipe press tools for press pipe fittings.
Exactly. Yep. Okay, so what's this for? I'll be very interested to know if anyone in the chat is in the market for a high pressure press tool for your pipe press fittings.
It's easier to say when you haven't got to do it in front of a camera.
So essentially what we got, this is the first of two machines which is designed for plumbers or anyone working with water or gas pipes, for example. They'll be doing, for example, here I've got a couple copper fittings, for example. You'll be looking at these types of unions, these fittings, right? As opposed to
solder or thread types.
Thread types, These ones simply fit together like this, and then you require a machine like this to apply a significant amount of force to basically crimp, however you would like to word it, compress this union onto the pipe and making it a watertight, gas-tight, airtight fitting.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first of the two machines. The 19 stands for the press force. So the jaws pressing here, this will be exerting 19 kilonewtons of force.
Yes.
Right, so a very, very powerful hydraulic machine. You see this is actually quite a compact machine, and I'll show you in a minute the other machine which is bigger but more powerful. This has a 360-degree rotating head. So if you are putting these in situ and you are trying to clamp that onto the union that you want to press fit, then you've got complete freedom of getting that machine into those awkward spaces, right? So we've obviously made sure that you're not limited in that rotation. Okay, the machine itself is extremely fast, even though it is exerting that 19 kilonewtons of force. It will do a press cycle in as little as 3 seconds. When it comes to what it's designed for, we'll talk about some of the heads later, but essentially this will be used for either plastic or metal pipes. The range, the maximum size of plastic pipes is 40 millimeters, and the maximum metal pipes, which is steel or copper, is going to be 35 millimeters in diameter.
Yeah, there's a full range of press heads available from us. So yeah, many choices to go from, depending on which fitments and which pipes that you're using.
Right, it has a LED. I'll just pop a battery in it very quickly. Let's see if I can. Okay, a small LED on the front there. Yes, obviously we're in a very well lit studio. This obviously helps because if you are working in the locations we'll expect you to be in, it's probably not going to be well lit. So that helps. That allows you to make sure that at least you're aligning with whatever you are trying to press. Okay, at the bottom you'll see a couple of things. You've got this little button here, which is obviously your pressure release. That's good when you are resetting the machine if you want to, if you've made a mistake or you've had to cancel the actuation. The trigger is well hidden. If you just pan up a little bit for us. Keep going, there it is. Okay, that's our little trigger there, and I'll show you on, well, I can see it is a simple press button. Okay, and then if you closed in again on the close-up camera, oh, you wouldn't see it. There's a little LED here. Let me just reset this very quickly for you. Okay, and then there'll be a green LED there, providing the machine has managed to hit that necessary force, so whatever force is necessary. Obviously, there's nothing in there, but if you were to put a pipe in there and it failed for any reason, or the machine thought it wasn't hitting that maximum torque, then you'd get a warning light there.
Yeah.
Typically it's a red one.
Situations when you haven't realised that the pipe was fully pushed into the pipe press fitting. Usually standard operating procedure is to push the pipe in, mark the pipe, and then when you put everything ready together to actually perform the pressing, just make sure everything's lined up with all the lines and everything's located into the unions. Obviously, if you realise halfway through the press cycle that it's not, this gives you the option of resetting the jaws and undoing what you've done, replacing the union and starting again. Right, if you look at the bottom of the machine, you'll see this is something you might actually see more often on a number of our newer products. It's become kind of a new design aesthetic. You'll see there is a complete battery cowl essentially that is now protecting the battery. Now these machines with the heads are not, well, they're not light, I'll tell you that. They can't be light. There's a lot of heavy metal involved in the actual press heads, press jaws. So there is a very sturdy, probably done the mics in there, haven't I? Very sturdy support here to protect the battery from potential damage. This is obviously very important because the machine is quite heavy, and if you were to drop this accidentally, there is a chance you could damage the battery, but probably you're more likely to damage the actual contacts and the mounting system. So this is all protected. And in addition, that provides a very stable platform if you're putting it down, which in between fitting pipes, I'm sure you won't be wanting to hold this the whole time. Not a chance. Okay. But this mechanism itself at the bottom here, this cowling isn't heavy in it itself. I don't know whether you can see, if you pop the battery out here, it's made up of a, I can see the light there, not light, but it's made up of a web of hexagons in here, which is obviously lightweight, yet providing an immense amount of power, rigidity to this part here as well. So I'll refer to it as like a skeletonized internals. Very similar, in fact, to how we designed the internals of our professional laser measurers, GLMs. Very similar design. So the heads are actually what makes up a lot of the weight. The removal of the heads is really straightforward. You've got this little bar here. Okay, you rotate it and then pull it out, and then the jaws will come out. Now we'll talk about the jaws in a minute because there are quite a number of these, but before we move on and talk about all the different kinds of jaws, I want to show you the second machine. So this is the first of two. So remember the GPT 18V-19 for plastic pipes up to 40 millimeters and metal pipes up to 35 millimeters. What we want to look at, and then we'll open up for some questions.
want to look at the bigger brother first, and this one might be a bit overkill for the UK, but again, we've got two machines so we can cover the entire range. This is the bigger one. This is the GPT 18V-32. Guess what? 32 kilonewtons of press force. So a lot of power. So this is going to be designed for your bigger pipes. So we're looking at plastic pipes up to 110 millimeters and now moving up to metal pipes up to a diameter of 54 millimeters. So a much bigger machine. It's going to be a harder one to frame for the close-up camera. So I'm just going to bring it up to here. Okay. And you'll see that, where should we go? Start at the top here. Let's go up to the top. Right. Okay. So we're retaining that 360-degree rotating head. You'll notice the jaws are different. They are bigger, and they are clearly bigger because obviously they're designed for larger diameter pipes. Okay, and obviously they need to be built slightly differently to resist that 32 kilonewtons of force. Okay, but essentially the designs and mechanism is the same, just more power. The press cycle is only a little bit slower. The actuation button is here. Same with your status LED. Okay, the full cycle will take about 5 seconds. If I hold the button down, you'll see that there's I need to put a battery on it. Okay, you'll see that I can hold the button down for a few seconds and let go, just like the 19, and then it will do a complete cycle. So hold it up. What you'll notice is the LEDs on the top flash. That means that you can basically release your finger and then it will do a complete cycle. As you can see, 5 seconds or less. If I press the button again and let go of it, or if I was to press it and then press it again, that would automatically cancel the action. And then there's a button on the bottom here that I press, and that releases the hydraulics. And then I can check my fitting, reapply, reactivate.
Yes.
So they share these same kinds of functionality. They both have LEDs as well, just more power with the 32 model.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's pause for a second and see if we've got some questions. I'm sure we will, because as I said, this is a brand new product segment for us.
Yeah,
Dharma, what do you got?
there's been quite a few questions, so I'll go through them. So firstly, PF Cutter said, I do a lot of plumbing, HVAC work also as well. These press tools are much needed, so when will they be available?
They already are. They are already available. The jaws and the machines themselves, we are supplying as bare machines. So we won't be supplying those with any particular kinds of jaws. We've allowed you to purchase, basically make sure that you're not wasting money essentially, because you'll see in a minute there are a lot of different jaws for these machines. So we've sell the machine bare, and then you can select whatever types of jaws and whatever sizes of jaws. Because remember, there's a lot of different variants or a lot of different jaws. In fact, there are, for this particular machine, we've got over 28 different types of heads. And with the 32 model, we've got basically, I think it's around 55 different types of heads on it. So we didn't want to limit you or make you purchase machines with the wrong kinds of fittings for you. Typically in the UK, my understanding is, and you can tell me in the chat if I'm wrong, that you'll be looking at either M or SV profile heads. But again, feel free to correct me, because I said, I don't know about you, Danny, but I'm not an expert on this. I will be by the end of the year, I'm sure.
So, yeah.
But that's my understanding. M and SV are the typical press fittings in the UK.
That leads nicely into my next question, which is what is the range of sizes of press jaws and of the GPT 18V19?
Now you've caught me a little bit. I'll have to double check. I can find out exactly. There's a very good matrix on the website, because the problem is there's so many. As I said, I had a quick glance at the tables for the 32, for example. I should have checked how high it goes up to. The highest ones we've got with me today, 28 is the biggest one that I've got. I could double check, or maybe at some point, if this live stream doesn't go on too long, which I think unfortunately it might, I can check on the website. But there is a table on the website that shows you the maximum size for all the sizes for your M mount, for your SV profile, your TH, your U, and your CUSS. So it's completely dependent on your region, and it's the same for the compact head as well. So it might be, you probably, if you went to our website while watching this live stream, you'll find out quicker than me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the largest one I've got currently. This M28.
The next question is, can this do PEX B?
See, challenging me. PEX B, maybe. Don't know. I'll have to. Right. As I said, we're gonna. As this is a new product segment for us, I must hold up my hands and say I'm a little bit naive on all the different types of heads out, different types of profiles out there. However, if it's something that we don't make, because currently we obviously have those Bosch jaws available in all those different sizes and all those different profiles. However, this is compatible. These machines are compatible with the Rothenberger heads or Rothenberger jaws as well.
Yes.
So if it is a profile that we don't make, and I will double check that after the live stream to see if we actually have whether or not.
I would strongly think that we probably do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's a UK standard, I would say yes. But come back to us with some more information because I'm not familiar by the name of it, I'm afraid.
Yeah, PEX plastic. I think it's a PEX with the metal band. In which case, I think yes, it does. But again,
I don't know what,
I'm not
I don't
an
know what
expert on
profile
this
it is
particularly either. But I've seen it used on many different profiles. But yeah, I think we've covered most of the things UK market wise anyway.
Yeah, as I said, my understanding is everything in the UK tends to be an M or an SV. That's my understanding. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to have a quick look at the PEX pipe fittings while I'm on the stream.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see any more
questions in the meantime.
You actually answered one of my questions because there were a few questions about if the jaws were compatible with Rothenberger, but you answered it.
Yeah, we're already ahead of you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool.
So another question is, do you make the press rings for it as well?
The fittings, these, no, unfortunately. There's plenty of different things that we could get involved in. It's a good big market. Yeah.
Yes, it's. I think it's producing them and then being competitive in the market. That's probably going to be the difficult part of that, I would imagine.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not something that we might not. It's not something we probably haven't looked at. And in the next, maybe next year, you'll see that there's actually a few. We are looking to dip our toe into a number of these different kinds of. I don't know what to call it. Elements. I'm not going to tell you too much because it's all based on a new product coming out there. But we're getting into that kind of market, so maybe we will start looking at these kinds of things as well. But currently, no, we're going to leave that to the people that obviously are the experts for now. And we're obviously conforming to whatever regulations is required for these. There's a very particular process in doing this, a correct way of doing it, as Dan pointed out, marking and double checking that the fitting has been done correctly. But all these machines are certified correctly for the fittings.
Yeah.
Are the jaws interchangeable between the two tools?
No. These are slightly smaller. Obviously, these are built to work alongside 19 kilonewtons of pressure. To put these onto a machine that, for instance, of this particular model, 23 kilonewtons, would be not well. It's been designed out to be brutally honest.
Yes.
Mainly for that reason. Yeah. So not interchangeable, unfortunately. No.
Okay. Final question for now: will a 12 AH fit, or will it be too tall?
Nope, fits perfectly.
We designed it. Have I got a triple? I don't know if I've got one to hand. You might have one.
I do have one here.
Yeah, we designed it for the triple layer Procore 18V batteries. I mean, it does make the machine even heavier. But if you are a heavy duty user, it will fit fine.
I might be ham-fisted at this. No. Is the answer to that.
Okay, I've been correct.
There you go.
That's terribly embarrassing. I thought it did.
No. I'm glad you committed to that one.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, no. Okay, well, good job with chested. Otherwise you'd call me a liar.
I would imagine it's probably down to the weight.
Yeah. I'll blame the fact that I'm distracted trying to look up PEX.
Yeah. PEX B.
Yeah. Oh, got it back there. PEX B. Oh, are we all good for questions then? All good, right, okay. Right, well, so Danny, you've done a demonstration. So it's only fair that I do one as well. So let's
We'd like to say that I prepped it for him, but yeah. No.
Wow. Right, okay, so what have I got? I've got my 22 jaws. I've got some copper pipe here, as I said. You've lovingly prepared that for me.
yes.
I mean, we had some popper pipe kicking about, so it's a little bit. It's a bit
tarnished. It's been out in the storeroom.
It's not the cleanest, but don't worry, we're not going to be using this for anything after, other than maybe some office ornaments. Okay, I'm going to make sure that is well seated. Now, normally we would mark here, maybe with a pen, to make sure that hasn't moved during the application. But as we said, we're just demonstrating the tool. We're not too worried about whether or not it's going to move or anything. We're not going to be doing anything with it after. As you'll see, the jaws simply actuate open like that, allowing me to place the fitting in. Okay, obviously this would typically be done on the wall, and again, that 360-degree head really helps maneuver in and around, and we've done a few of these really up close against the wall, for example. The heads are really nice and slim, even though they are really bulky. The clearance here is nice and simple. Now, I want to obviously point this towards the camera a little bit, because I want you to be able to see the actuation. I want you to see the actuation light flash up, as well as hopefully be able to see the jaws compressing. Let me see if I get that. There we go. Okay, and you'll see that all I need to do is press the button, hold it until the LEDs light up, and then it will complete that 5-second press cycle, and then we can have a look at the fitting. So pretty straightforward. It's already in, so I'm gonna hold it down. Okay, and honestly, it's as exciting and as effortless as that. I mean, as you say. Okay, hopefully that catches on the camera. That's all it does, and I say all it does, but that requires a significant amount of force pressure to make sure that is seated on, and
you're not going to move that.
We're not. No. That's not going anywhere. So if you are in the business of, if you're a plumber, especially if you're working in commercial builds, you may be wanting to move up to something like the GPT 18V-32. I do envision many more people looking at the 19 model. It's a little smaller.
Yes, for domestic plumbing, you're probably looking for something like this. If you're looking for sort of something that's capable of larger pipes, maybe office feed water systems, something like this would probably be the one you'd go for.
That's right, yes, okay. So,
horses
for courses. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. Okay, so I think, again, because we've got quite a packed live stream, we're already up to 7:15, and I don't know whether or not we're going to get through it today. We might have to do a two-parter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me know in the chat whether or not, how are we doing for time? Are you guys getting tired? Have you already had your coffee breaks? Everyone in the studio is looking tired already, and we're only a little bit in. So we might need to speed it on along a little bit. But as I said, we've already covered some of the most important tools when it comes to the range, and these ones are particularly important. All good, Dharma? Should we just keep going? Okay, we've got a thumbs up from Dharma, so let's go. Let's move on to a very fun one. I got it on my side. So let me make some space on the desk, because this is a.
It's a larger machine.
Yeah, it's a larger machine. Yeah, sure.
Entertaining machine, in fact.
Right now, first of two. Again, we've got loads of products coming out. All right, let's get this framed up. I think you can guess what this is. This is going to be our new power box radio. This is the GPB 18V-6C.
Yes.
Okay, so GPB, okay, radio, 18 volt. Should we go to should we start the 6? Well, I don't know. 6, we wanted to make it really difficult. The original one was the 5.
Yeah.
This is the new model, so we decided to call it 6 just to throw a little wobbly out there, just to keep you on your toes. Now, this is a C model, and it's not a radio. If I've said it was a radio before, my apologies. This is not a radio. It's actually it's a pretty big and robust and powerful Bluetooth speaker. Okay, there are a number of really interesting features with this particular product, and I think a lot of it's going to have to be done by us showing some of the actual features in it. You can see, obviously, you've got your speakers on the front. This particular sound box or speaker box doesn't have a front screen here, so we made sure that means you're not going to have to worry about. Well, this is also designed for site use. Okay, we've got nice, big, soft rubber buttons for all your typical modes. As I said, it's a speaker, so this is going to be Bluetooth compatible. Connect to your smartphone. We also have on the back here a couple of USB-C slots. Okay, so if you are using your smart device, you can do two things actually here. You can charge your smart device if it's a USB-C cable, and you could pop your smart device on the top here. Okay, and you see there's a little pass-through for the cable and a little slot allowing you to put your phone up there when you're playing. This device can actually be powered by that USB-C here, providing you have a USB-C that has power delivery.
It's a higher wattage.
Yep, so power delivery, yep, and that means you can run it on that. However, if I open up the back, you'll see we've got an 18-volt battery in there. This is a Procore 4 amp hour, and there's this little lever, okay? So that means it is very easy to remove the battery via this lever here, instead of having to try and reach in and grab it. So that little battery cradle makes life a lot easier for you.
Yeah.
I tilt it back, hopefully you can see there, and Daniel will hand me it. Okay, compatible with 12-volt battery as well. So we're looking at a hybrid, well, not a hybrid, but I was going to say dual, but not dual. You can do 12, 18, and also via USB-C. But a lot of flexibility when it comes to the power source. Okay, what else can we talk about?
Well, when it comes to the other system, we had what do we call it, a daisy chain system that we've had previously
yes.
On our last iteration of our radios. However, greatly improved upon with this one.
Yes.
Yes.
We call it our multi-speaker sound system, which means obviously you can synchronize this via Bluetooth to your smart device, and then you could then daisy chain not just one or two, but basically virtually an unlimited number of these speakers to each other.
Yeah, providing they're within Bluetooth range of the master system that you're actually streaming music to. So, yes, you can spread them around all over the place.
Yep, that's right. So we've done away with the original system of left and right speakers. You can have a whole number of these. You can have them back to back, so you can have essentially 360 sound, which is obviously something this doesn't have. It doesn't have the 360 speakers we've had on some of our previous power boxes. It is unfortunately lacking a subwoofer, but it does. Oh, sorry, not lacking. It still has the subwoofer, I should have said, but it is lacking the surround sound speakers that we had on some of the power boxes. But in feedback from a lot of people, the 360 sound isn't necessarily always wanted, as it's got a good directional sound on this particular model.
We've had the sound quality or the sound engineers in to I can't pronounce the name of the company. Do you want to give it a go?
Looks like Fon.
Clearly a German sound engineering company, to tune this particular model to give the best possible sound quality that we can out of this particular machine. The sound quality is amazing.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And lastly, because again, we can't spend too much time on it because we've got so many other products, it's IP54 rated, surprise, surprise, which means it's it's well protected against dust ingress and can handle the British summer, the British winter. Anything other than high pressure washer, I don't think you're going to be pressure washing it. I don't recommend you pressure wash anything that we do, really. So perfectly okay to be left outside in the rain when you're working, not a problem. Okay, just don't go swimming with it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, don't take it swimming with you.
Yes.
Take it swimming, but not into the water. Right, okay, so one of the two speakers, okay. However, there is another one that's coming out, which is actually might be the one that's more interesting to you, because if you are in the market for more than just a Bluetooth speaker and you might want a radio and a DAB radio, then you might want the model that Dan's got above.
Yes, I've put this up on a quite high shelf to be bringing down. So this one here is the kicked a piece of wood, the GPB 18VH-6 SRC.
What a complicated name.
It is a complicated name.
Right, let's break it down. 18 volt, perfect, okay. It also features on the back, of course, it's going to have that 18 volt and 12 volt system. However, you'll notice it also features, and this is why the H is in the name, for hybrid power. It's also running your normal corded cable, so your 240 volt.
I can hear the question now.
What's that?
That is, if I have an 18 volt battery in this particular machine, will it charge the battery when I plug it into the mains?
I don't know, Danny, will it?
Yes, it will. It
Yes,
has
it
a
does.
charging circuit built in on the 18 volt. However, if you put the 12 volt in, there's no charging circuit on the 12 volt.
Yes.
But it will charge an 18 volt battery whilst you're listening to your favourite tunes.
You asked for it. I remember people kept asking, why have you done away with the charging circuitry on the old power boxes? Yeah, it's fine. We listen to you. We've got a charging system in here. Now, I'm sure someone also might ask, what is the charging capacity? And I think if I look at the back really quick to remind myself, it will tell me. Where is it? Oh, I've set myself for a fall, haven't I?
Yes.
I'm going to have to look that one up. Yes, I'll try to remember what amp the charger is. But yes, battery charger as well. Also allows you to run this via USB-C, again, like the other model, via that power delivery USB-C on the back here. Okay. You notice this one, so it will be on that port down there. You can charge your phone via this as well. And you see, obviously, you've got your aerial on the back. So it's slightly different, as well as...
Oh, the bottle opener.
Nice little bottle opener as a little additional feature. Now, we're avoiding the elephant in the room, which is actually the cage system itself, okay? Obviously, this is probably what you were expecting from us, because obviously got quite a good reputation when it comes to our old power boxes, virtually indestructible power boxes, and we built in a nice little rugged cage to go with it.
Which is L-box compatible, so that will drop straight onto your L-box, your stack, so you can transport this around sitting on top of that as well. So nice and easy to mobilise. Oh, you got one there. So there you go. I can never get this first time. No, there you go.
Second time's the charm. Okay, so this is another thing that I've been really looking forward to, because I think we do good radios. However, it's always I've always wondered and always vexed me why at least there isn't some form of clipping it onto your L box, because you are obviously going to be wanting to transport everything and your radio at the same time. So we've listened, we've done it, and I think this is a really nice, clean solution. You notice on the front of the machine, it's of this particular product on the SRC, you've got a really nice, large TFT screen.
Before we move away from the actual cage. The previous model we were looking at doesn't have a cage. However, it can be purchased as a spare part for this machine and be fitted to the other machine. So you can make the other machine L-box compatible as well.
Yeah. So don't worry if you don't want the whole bells and whistles, you can still get it.
Yeah.
Right, so on the front of the screen here, you see obviously we've got a larger screen on here, and we've got more of the traditional dials that you expect. You've got your normal volume wheel here, and then you've got your... That's you. That's your phone, Dan.
Is it really?
Yeah. Oh, I think we get aware of that.
Yeah, but I think
we didn't play enough of it to get done, so we're okay. So obviously you can see that this one is already synced into Dan's terrible musical choice.
That's not that bad. Come on. It could have been a lot worse.
Could have been a lot worse. So let's just say we lucked out that one. Could have been absolutely anything. I've heard Dan's musical choices. I've been in many a van with him. Not a fan.
Yeah, he doesn't get involved in any of the sing-alongs either.
Exactly, no.
Yeah, it's boring.
So, Bluetooth, DAB as well as, or DAB Plus as well as FM. This also has the ability to have that multi-speaker system, and in addition, I mentioned it earlier that you could obviously have a number of these multi-linked together, right? But you can mix and match as much as you want. So you could have these linked together. You could have two of these linked to one of these. Whatever combination you like, we haven't restricted you. As long as it's within that Bluetooth range, then these can all play the same, from the same source. In this case, Danny's phone.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to look to see whether or not we've got anything else that we need to talk about in this particular model. Maybe if we had more time, we would show you exactly how to sync it. It isn't very difficult.
No.
Essentially, you just set this up for your multi-speaker, and then you will press, for example, that link button on the front here, and then these will synchronize, okay?
It's literally press the link button 2 times, set this up to stream, done.
Okay, so I think we might have some questions already. So we are speeding along, so let's see what we've got.
Yeah, so someone mentioned how they were in Germany over the weekend for the Pro Tour, and they heard the quality of these speakers firsthand. They said it was truly ground rumbling levels of bass.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Again, as I said, subwoofer on the bottom of this one, and obviously on the bigger model,
Same
thing, same as you would expect. I think that's one of the things I feel like we do well. We do good bass. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the questions is, what is the watt output? How many decibels?
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask that one. Hold your horses on that one, because I haven't got it on my notes. Obviously, probably one of the most important things. And I'll double check that one, because I've omitted it from this one.
Yeah.
You can tell we're power tool trainers more than radio and speakers trainers. So let me double check that. I'll come back to you in a minute. I'm just going to look it up in a second. It's not on the back there.
Yeah.
Is it on?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. I want to shut that one out, Dan. So let's go see if we've got some more questions before I move on.
Yep. What we got?
So
if you're talking about the volume.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking that one up now.
No. Yeah. We'll Chris is looking that one up now. Have you got any other ones?
Yeah, so if it's running from USB-C, will it charge the batteries?
No. No, it's a different circuit. There's not enough. There's enough input from a high output USB to run the machine, but not to charge an 18-volt battery. It's too high a step up in voltage there we're talking about. So, yeah, you're only talking about like 100 watts out of high output USB. So, yeah, not enough to charge an 18-volt battery. If it did, it would take an age. So.
Yeah. Finally, we got a question saying, "Good looking radio. I'd love to see a strap to carry it from the car to the job site, especially when you have a box under it."
Yeah, there's no reason why you couldn't. There's these are almost grab handles here. You could pop a strap around that, no problem. It's light enough for you to carry it over your shoulder, no problem.
Finally, when is it available to purchase?
Now, this one is available now, and this one in around about a month.
Other way around. This one's available now.
Ah, that's changed from what I heard. So I've heard completely different. So
Yeah, so you can buy. My understanding is, we'll double check that, of course.
we've got a retail one of these that we've actually ordered. So this one is available.
Which one's that? Is that retail?
No.
I think Dan's right. I'm having a bad day today. Okay, this one's available. This one is coming very soon. isn't it?
Very soon,
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, round about a month. Yeah. Any more? That's it.
Okay, well,
You're furiously tapping away over
I'm
there still.
just trying to double check because for whatever reason we decided not to put that information. 40 watts.
40 watts.
Yeah, that makes sense. 40 watts for the bass speaker,
That's the same as
And
the last power box that we've done.
and the speakers themselves are 24.
Yeah. Which I think is slightly higher. It was 20 watts on the previous one with a 40 watt subwoofer. So yeah. So a little bit better.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. Yeah, that makes sense. We've obviously played these in the training centre. A nice step up. I had no problems with the smaller 18 volts, the GPB V2s and the 5. The 5 is always going to be a good one because it's a power box system, and these are a really nice alternative because we're not getting rid of not anytime, not soon anyway. Especially the 5 series, and these new 6s are going to complement that really well.
Yeah, I do like the 5 as it is because of the frame around it. I think it gives off that rugged vibe really well. And they are really tough. I've seen you throw them around the workshop.
I do like
demonstrate the point.
I specifically like to throw our radios about just to prove the point that they are really designed for the site, and that's something that I think we've got a really good reputation when it comes to our radios, that they are genuinely, well, I can't use the word indestructible, but I like to really test that, and I haven't killed one yet, so they're at least crisp proof, and that does mean they're pretty good.
Yes, yeah, it's a high accolade.
Yes, I've broken many of things. I think they should get me involved centrally for product testing.
Yes.
I haven't broken too many things, but definitely not a radio.
No.
Okay, so again, I'd love to spend more time, but the nature of the live stream, especially this one, the sheer number of products means we just cannot spend the time that me and Danny want to on all these products in the detail we want to. But we can skip along very quickly and have a look at the next product, Danny. You've got it there.
There you go. I opened one of these out from the box first time today, and I was genuinely surprised by the quality of just the case.
Hold on. In the chat, what is it? What do you think this could be? What could this little box contain? I'll give you a few minutes to write it in the chat, and then I'm going to open it up and explain. Anyone gonna guess? You know what it is. Anyone typing, Dharma? Have you put them to sleep with radio talk? Right. If you haven't, it's too late now. I'm going to open it up. What we've got here is...
Oh, yes, there's a couple of people there.
There we go.
Right. Yep.
Dave's on it. Yes, RM Builds is on it. There we go. Right. There we go.
Oh, you missed the...
Oh, I'm going to show the case in a minute.
Yes.
Okay, so what we've got here is the BOSCH Go, the 3rd generation. So the BOSCH Go 3. Okay, we've made quite a few... I wouldn't say they're minor. They're substantial upgrades to this one. What's the most important one? I don't know. I think maybe that might be one of the more important ones. There you go. So we're now running USB-C charging. That's an important one. We've modified the buttons as well. Okay, so we've made the buttons far bigger. Much clearer actuation here. The switch has changed as well.
The change in one of the differences from the change in the button is the fact that if you're using it for a push drive, it's quite easy on the previous model to knock the power button.
Up here, yes.
Yes, But now this is now a little bit more recessed and out of the way, so you're not going to accidentally grip it.
That's right. So here you see this is not a trigger. This turns into a really nice place to hold it. And the trigger actuation is back here. Okay. What we've also changed is we've added a few more torque settings. This feels very, very different. It's much more clicky.
Still got a precision clutch on it.
Yes, it has. And then you'll see on the front here, we've got dual LEDs on the front here, which we didn't have previously.
Yep.
And now we have a captive holder. So I've got a little, I got a little accessory. Yes, I do, because I'm well prepared. Okay. Okay. And now you've got a captive screwdriver bit holder, which the
previous one was magnetic.
exactly, which was pretty good. But again, in the Generation 3, we wanted to up the ante. We've also improved the battery capacity from 1.5 amp hours to 2 amp hours. So it's a bit more battery capacity, more runtime out of the Go through Generation 2. And it has the same maximum diameter of screws of 5 millimeters, so that's still good. Still has the same Newton meter torque, 5 Newton meters, which is actually quite a good amount, actually.
You're going to have a job with providing that much torque with a manual screwdriver, not without hurting your hands on the grip.
Yeah, still 360 RPM, a nice controllable speed. Remember, this is not trying to replace your drill driver or your impact driver. Okay, this is trying to replace essentially your hand screwdriver. So relatively low torque, 5 still quite enough. 360 RPM, nice and slow and controllable. Doesn't weigh anything at all, 0.3 kilograms, 200 grams, it's nothing at all. You can have that in your back pocket and not know you've got it in there. And again, you see you've got all your torque settings, nice and clicky, and then all the way over there to maximum to give you that max 5 Newton meters.
That's your direct drive there.
That's right, yeah. If we cut to the overhead very quickly, you see we have just, there we go. It's a little darker, this camera, but you see we've got our little actuation on the back there for your forward, so your reverse and your forward.
That's very familiar to the previous model anyway.
That's right, and then a nice big actuation button in this gripping area here. So if you want to hold it however you want like that, you're not going to accidentally press that while doing the push drive system. So perfect, good, love it. So Go 3, nothing wrong with the Go 2. If you've already got the Go 2, don't worry, you don't have to upgrade. But you want to upgrade because they're both really good products. If you feel like stepping up a little bit with some of those little mod cons, especially USB-C charging, then the Go 3 is an excellent product. And I'll be honest, it makes an excellent Father's Day present.
Yes.
Mother's Day present.
Christmas present, birthday present.
That's right, wedding present. Any old present. It's a really great package. And the new actual box itself.
So if you can go on the overhead for a sec. That way around. There you go. So the keen of you out there may have realised that the previous model came in a micro L box, the tiny little L box. Nice little box, that. And it had some screwdriver bits in it. We haven't let you down with the new box. We've got some screwdriver bits all set into the clasp of the actual box here. And then you flip it open and there you go. You got your Go sits in there, nice and snug.
Yeah, it's a really tidy, just really, really tidy. And again, it's gift size.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on and we'll see if we catch any questions later. We've got a few changes to some of our machines, so these are not necessarily new machines, but it's good for you to be up to date with some of the tweaks that we've made.
Did you bring this one in?
I got this one here.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to take that off first. Okay, so this is the current model, what we used to call these like your D-handle drills. This is the GBH 18V-28DC. However, I'm using this to step in for the now new 28D model. So essentially what we've done is we've taken away the connectivity module underneath here. Okay, so if you can hear the name, essentially you're going to get the same kind of machine, GBH 18V-28D. Okay, so a little bit more cost effective. You don't need that connectivity module, then this is the machine you can get. If you're in the market for a D-handle machine, very popular in America, they like to have the longer drills. This is very good for doing overhead and
drilling down.
Yeah, up and down, vertical drilling. Really nice and comfortable because of the extra length handle. And this was another one of these machines that I quite liked when it first came out. And obviously this retains the same dust management, passive dust management solution here. So this actually doesn't use the battery.
Doesn't affect your the battery capacity at all.
This is using the negative pressure created by the motor itself to pull air through into the filter box Again, just like some of our other GDEs, really helping keep the application clean, making sure the after application cleanup is minimal.
Yeah.
Keeping that dust out of the air as much as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Minor change on that one, really.
yeah, only a minor change, but again, we wanted to give you a bit of flexibility, save you a bit of money if you don't want connectivity, which I think many people for this kind of machine, it's probably not necessary. So save yourself a little bit of money if you are in the market for a D-handled drill. Okay.
I don't think I've got anything left over my side.
No, I think I might have all of it. Right. Okay. So now we're on to some MT products. Again, we'll be very quick because I think
that's measuring tools, by the way.
Oh yes,
It's probably...
measuring tool products, because I've actually talked about this one before.
Yes.
So let's pop it down. What we've got here is a brand new professional ball scanner or detector. This is the GMS 120-27. Now this is similar. This is the replacement and the successor of the GMS 120, which is a very, very popular, cost-effective wall scanner, helping you, giving you the ability to scan up to a maximum depth in concrete of 120 millimeters, looking for metal, ferrous and non-ferrous, so rebar or whatever.
Yep.
It also allows you to work in drywall, looking for wooden studs, as well as looking for anything non-metallic, so to speak. Okay. It also allows you to look for live wires in all those substrates as well, so drywall and in concrete as well. It has a number of different, it has a couple of changes compared to the old GMS 120. One of the things we did is, let's pop it over to the overhead. Oh, hold on.
Is this still on? Yes, in charge.
No, I've got it. I've got it.
Batteries?
I've got it.
Oh,
It's okay. Right.
I was thinking to myself, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Batteries, we don't need. Where we're going, we don't need batteries. Right, so you'll see here, if I go to cut to the overhead camera, we have changed the interface. So if you're familiar with the GMS, it used to be an LCD screen, and now we've moved to a far better, lower energy drain OLED, or LED screen here, as opposed to LCD. Okay, we've done away with some of the buttons, so you'll see that we've now got only... Mute that. We've now only got two buttons. So we've got this mode here, which is for live wire and metal. And if you also want to look for wood, for example, then you press that button and then it's looking for all three types. Little button here to mute the speaker, which makes a nice sound. That's telling you that my hand is definitely there. And then a straightforward off button. You'll see on the interface that you've got this circle system. So the more rings, the closer you are to an object. And then you'll see these 4 arrows light up when it's directly over something. You'll also get a number of icons at the bottom telling you what the object is. Okay. Okay, so why have we brought out a Generation 2? Well, the previous GMS 120 is an excellent machine. However, many people found it a little bit complicated to use. There was a number of different bars that showed you and indicated how strong the signal was and how close you were to an object, but many people found it a bit confusing. So what we've done is we've taken the UI from the Detect 120.
That's user interface. I'll
You can translate.
I'll translate.
We've taken the screen and the... I describe it now without using the word UI.
Interface.
We've taken the way the Detect 120 communicates information and applied it to this new Generation 2 GMS 120, because a lot of people found the Detect 120 a really clean and simple to understand system with essentially the lines and the crosses, for example. We've made this machine a little bit more sensitive in some ways, made it more accurate. We have changed the maximum detection depth of wooden substrates down from 38 millimeters to 30 millimeters. However, we've made this much faster at detecting all objects.
Exactly.
So sacrificed a little bit of depth for looking for wood, for speed. However, the wood in generally, especially if you're looking in drywall, that wooden stud should be up against the back of the drywall anyway.
Yeah.
So you're not really sacrificing anything. Instead, what you're getting is a much faster and much more accurate device for those applications. Remember, this discriminates against what you're scanning. So when you scan across the wall, this will tell you whether it's a live wire, whether it's metal, metallic or non-metallic, or whether not metallic, magnetic and non-magnetic, sorry, or non-metallic. So really useful tool for missing things, but also good for trying to find things as well. Okay, IP54. And in addition, if I point it round, swap it around, it also has compatibility with this battery module as well. This is the same module that we use on the GLM 50s.
Yes.
Okay, this is the BA 3.7 volt 1 amp hour battery cell, which is also
USB-C.
USB-C. Okay, so you'll see that we are slowly but surely bringing compatible products out for our little lithium ion packs. So you would do away with the old 9-volt battery that you had,
Yes.
or if you do not want to purchase that, or if you run out of battery and you can't charge it for some reason.
It comes with the door to pop your AA batteries in there, and away you go.
Yeah, and you'll always be able to find AA batteries.
Yes.
So
9 volts, a little bit tricky to come by now. I'm not seeing
a
as
little
many
bit,
of them.
Okay.
Certainly around here they are anyway.
Right, so GMS 120-27, a really great upgrade if you're looking for a cost-effective, honestly, very cost-effective scanning device. Really helps avoid those electrical strikes and making sure you're not just drilling into random stuff you don't want to be.
Exactly.
For the price of this, as we always say, Dan, for the price of one of these, if you avoid just one strike, you've made your money's worth. So
You've more than paid for that.
absolutely, absolutely.
More than paid for it.
Right, okay, let's speed along. I think we'll get done at the latest past.
Okay.
Because I think I'm hungry. I don't know about you.
Yes.
Had a long day. Everyone in the office has had a long day too. So next one I've got. Shall I hand this to you? I've talked a lot.
Yeah, you can do.
Go on, let's do it together. Right. Let's grab that battery first.
You want to use a bigger battery? Okay.
That's right. So now we talked about this before.
Hang on.
And it's getting a call.
Okay, cool.
Right. So we have got a machine we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Or a few weeks ago. This is our brand new GLL 18V-120-33CG. Whoa, what a word.
Yes.
So GLL, so this is a crossline laser. It's 18 volt, as pointed out by a little Procore 18 volt battery on the back there. 120 is the maximum range this works at, 120 meters with the receiver. It is a generation 3, and then the final 3 is 3-line laser.
So 3 laser apertures.
That's right, you can see 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is a connected product, so it is connected to your smartphone device. Can use the Measure On app, the laser leveling app. Sorry, my apologies. And obviously, it is a green beam laser. Now let's switch it on. Let's try and avoid shooting any lasers into anyone's eyes. Okay, it's on. You should see one of the lasers coming across me here. If we cut to the close-up camera, I want to be able to show this little interface up here. Right, this is a nice new feature where, in order to switch on different lasers,
Hang on.
you're all good? No one's getting caught? Good,
Not
good.
yet.
And, oh, that's the camera getting caught. There you go,
That's got me in the eye as well.
We've blinded, we nearly blinded the cameras, but we're okay. Right, so you can see there is, I'll switch them all off.
Thank you.
There you go. Now you can switch on any one of the individual lasers, and it even points at the aperture to make it even easier to understand which one's going to be switched on. So instead of what we had before, where we had a single button to cycle through the modes, you can cut to the chase and just select the lasers you want on any one time. Okay, switch it off there. Okay, little battery indicator on the side there.
A couple of other buttons on there as well. One of those is for eco mode, so you can actually lower the power consumption of the machine itself. That goes there. The lasers go a little bit dim, but it doesn't matter at all if you're using a receiver.
Yep.
So,
just save a little bit of energy, especially if you're in if it's too bright, or maybe it's dark enough to not need the extra power draw. And then this button up here is your Bluetooth connectivity. So
that's it. Yeah, that's just to connect to the phone app.
Right. Right. So what we've obviously got here is an 18 volt product. Why is 18 volt important? Well, we've got a lot of products out there running on the 18 volt platform, so that gives you a bit of flexibility. But primarily, the main advantage here is you've got a lot more runtime. So these kinds of 3-line cross-line lasers, especially if you're doing stuff like marking out a large building, partition walls, you're setting up the levels for utilities, for example, there's a good chance that you'll be working all day. Maybe there might be a few of you guys working together, for example, all day, and you want that laser on the whole time. Yeah. Okay, so an 18 volt battery platform allows you to run this for an exceptionally long amount of time. I'm sure someone's going to ask me how long, going to have to double check that one. As always, I should have prepared a little bit more to find out exactly how much runtime you get out of an 18-volt battery, but it is significantly more than you would be getting on the old alkalines or the 12-volt platform that we had for the GLL 380 models. Okay, so what else can we say? So maybe we could refer to the mount. Okay, so as you see, this is complete. This is the complete unit. It doesn't come off this mount. It's all integral. You've got your big, exceptionally strong neodymium magnets on the back here. Okay, they are so powerful. It takes quite a lot of effort to get it off something.
Yes.
So you won't be worrying about this falling off anything. It's got some weight to it compared to other devices. It's not particularly heavy, but it really benefits from these much stronger magnets. I mean, it's less than 1.5 kilograms.
Yeah.
But these magnets are more than enough to hold onto it. It's also got a little nail hook here if that's how you'd want to secure it, if it's non-metallic that you're trying to attach it to.
Yes.
Okay, working range without a receiver is about 35 meters. Obviously, even though it's a green beam laser, if it's an exceptionally bright light, that might be a little bit less, but up to 35 meters. Maximum range 120 with a receiver.
Self-leveling on this machine, as well as all of the current range of lasers, is plus or minus 4 degrees anyway. So if you are slightly off a little bit on the mounting, say you've got it off stuck to the side of a girder or something, doing suspended ceilings or anything like that, if you are slightly out, this will take that into account, and the gimbal inside will self-level plus or minus 4 degrees.
Yeah, if you're out of alignment, it will constantly flash and tell you that it cannot level it. The last thing really is leveling accuracy, so it's 0.3 millimeters per meter, so exceptionally accurate as well, which is exactly what you're looking for, less than 3 second startup time. So lastly, IP65, so again completely dust proof, and again IP65, so 5 for water ingress, means this is again perfectly fine to be using outside. Just don't go swimming with it.
Yep.
Who's going swimming with these devices? I don't know.
What about power supply options?
Yes, power supply options, they are varied. I've got one example here. There's a few other. Okay, so what we've got here, what does that look like to you?
That'll be your 12-volt adapter. So you can run this machine, despite the fact that it says 18 on it, it's a dual voltage system, so you can run it on a 12-volt battery as well.
Yes, this particular one, we've given it a fancy name. We call this the BA1812.
Battery adapter.
Yeah, battery adapter 18-12.
Yeah.
And we're also going to have an alkali a C cell battery, which is called the BA18C.
Yes, four cells.
Yes, four alkaline C cells. So if you are still wanting to use the old school way, then you can run that too. So that's not the C, but Ollie put it up there on the thing. And that obviously just slides onto the back here. Switch you off. Oh, I've got a 12-volt battery. Yeah, I can do it all.
Yep.
Okay, so a little bit of flexibility. Okay, a little bit, obviously less runtime, but it gives you the flexibility if you still want to, and if you have 12-volt batteries, and or you just don't want to run an 18-volt battery for whatever reason. Yeah. So we give you all, as per usual here at Bosch, we give you all the flexibility to use it however you like. Now, the last bit before I stop for some questions is the fact that this mount itself, obviously will attach to a wall mount, a ceiling clip, my apologies.
Yes.
And then obviously, because you can see the gears on the back allow you to move it up and down. The mount itself allows you to align in this orientation, so you can rotate it. So obviously if you're trying to align your crosses, you can do. However, you'll notice this little wheel on the bottom here, and this is one of the reasons why this is all integrated, because you have this fine adjustment pivot wheel. Why is this important? Because as opposed to moving it just using this large rotation change, if you use the fine adjustment pivot wheel, okay, due to some clever geometry, it means that the actual crosses on the top and bottom, so if this is emitting its laser crosses here, this will stay in exactly the same position as you move the device. So you're not altering the location of the machine when doing your left and right changes. Yeah. So that is the reason why this is a completely integral mount. So let me see if I can, what if I can switch that on? So that X here, as I adjust this, is rotating, but it's staying in exactly the same place. Yeah. We would do this on the overhead camera, but I think that is showing enough where you can see it there. I'm slowly moving the laser to my right. However, the cross on the top and bottom is staying in the same place, which is what you want. You don't want to have that move because your reference point needs to stay where it is.
Exactly. That's the only thing to take into consideration when you're using a 3-line laser, where the lasers aren't set bang in the middle of the machine. So yeah, quite a clever bit of kit.
Oh, okay, we've got some time left, just a little bit. Any questions?
Yeah. So firstly, how stable is the laser when it's on the mount or the base?
Absolute rock solid. You'll notice on the bottom here, you'll see that you've got 2 tripod mounts. You'll see that they are not plastic, they are brass.
Yep.
Okay. 2 sizes. You've obviously got your standard tripod mount and the, I always get this one wrong down.
British standard pipe. So British standard pipe.
Okay.
Yeah, yes,
That wasn't what I was going for, but yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So your 2 standard tripod mounts.
It'll either be the British standard pipe or 3/4 inch. But
Yes.
we have to look into that. It could be 3/4 inch on that one, actually.
Yeah, so
I have to look into that one.
but as I said, these are the standard mounts that we've got on the 2 different types of tripod, the 2 different fitment mechanisms that we've got on our tripod range. So these are your standard mounts. It is, yeah, rock solid. Absolutely.
Another question is, how does this model compare to the GLL 380 CG?
Better. If you visually look at it, obviously we've talked about all the different buttons you've got on it. The interface of it is, I think, cleaner, faster, more not more logical, but yes, more logical, but far more intuitive. Okay, you'll notice that the actual windows themselves are now they're protected here. Okay, so that's part more of the robustness, campaign or the robustness angle that we're doing with a lot of our measuring tools.
Yep.
So you see here they're well protected, smaller apertures as well, a bit lower.
Yeah. Battery level indicator on this as well, which you don't get on the previous models.
No, you just get a warning on the top.
You just start.
Yeah, less buttons on the top, and obviously the most important thing is because it's running battery, the 18-volt battery, you've got much more runtime over the 380. The 380 is still a really good machine.
Yes.
Running on the 12-volt batteries as well as the AA batteries, but this is the evolution of real long runtime 3-line lasers. Yeah.
Another question, is there an updated BM1 mount?
The BM1 mount, yes. It'll be a different mounting system for this.
This is the DK20, I think, for the ceiling mount. I'm not sure what the BM1 was for the smaller lasers, but the BM part of it is actually built into the bottom of the actual system now.
So yeah, as Dave said, DK20 is now going to be your ceiling clip for this.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
different
that
bits.
attached to this will perform exactly the same as the BM1.
Yeah, because of the size of it, the weight of it, because it is bigger and a little bit heavier than the previous models, and obviously you have to factor into the weight of the batteries too. We needed to have a far more robust mounting system, so they're not intercompatible.
Great. Is there a tripod for the laser?
Compatible with any of our existing tripods.
Yes. Yeah.
Does it also support RM3?
Unfortunately not. Because as you can see, the whole thing is complete. And the RM3 uses the contacts on the back of the GLL 380, the 12-volt model. It won't work. It has to. And it's the 380C models is the one that are 12 volts. So not compatible with that, unfortunately. Maybe in the future we'll bring out an equivalent RM mount, but currently, unfortunately, not yet.
It would be nice to see one for a machine like this, but as we've said, this is our first 18-volt line laser. So.
Yep.
Final question about the lasers. Can this laser use a 5.5 AH or 8 AH Pro Core battery?
It can run it,
Yep.
but you'll see there is a snag. So physically will fit, technically, electrically will fit, but if you go to the close-up camera, you'll see there is a slight snag that if you are wanting to have it run in certain angles, you won't be able to just due to the clearance. A core pack battery.
The magnets are strong enough to support a double layer battery, no problem. Cool pack,
4 amp hour Pro Core.
Yep.
There we go. Will fit, and so will any of our cool pack batteries.
So 5 or 6 amp will go on there if you have a 6 amp.
Okay. But again, remember, although yes, it is a higher draw. Well, it's not a higher draw. It's a high draw product. It isn't. It's not needing the power of a Pro Core battery. But if you do have one, it will work. But it's not really the best choice for this machine.
You have to take into account a slightly different setup when it comes to mounting the laser on the surface that you want to.
Yeah, in my opinion, save these for your big power tools, and for your laser, just get a nice little compact battery. Get a little 4 amp hour. It's perfect. Fits perfect It's almost, well, it's almost like we designed it.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Right. Okay. Now we're going to do a whistle-stop tour through a few more measuring tools because we need to draw. We need to draw today to a close. We've got so many products. It was impossible for us to get this done by 7:30. That is absolutely insane. But look, this is good. This is good because we're showing you the fact that we're bringing out more and more products. Right? We're innovating. We're making sure that we're bringing stuff out all the time. And these
It was always going to be a big one.
These live streams are getting longer and longer. By the time we're never going to get home by the end. In a year's time, we'll have so many products coming out every 3 months. Yes.
Yeah.
Every 4 months.
Every 4 months. Yeah.
That we're never, Dan and I, never going to get to go home at this rate.
No.
Okay, so a couple more products very
I'm
quickly.
looking behind me. There's nothing there.
Yeah. Right. Next one up very quickly, and I won't spend too long on it because we've got this one here, which is another crossline laser. This is the GLL 8033G.
This one's so new in that I don't know too much about this one.
You can derive enough information from the name.
I certainly can.
Right.
So it's a line laser, professional line laser. 80 probably usually refers to the working range.
Yeah. This one's with a receiver. This is the new naming structure.
Yep. Third generation.
Yes.
Yep. And again, 3 apertures, 3 lines. Yep.
Right. Okay.
And the cost of G, obviously, is G. It's green. Yeah.
All right, let's have a look. Now, this one isn't obviously running on the 12-volt battery platform. However, it is running on. You've got a number. Let's cut to the close-up. You see that? That is your little battery cradle. Okay.
So that's your 4 AA batteries.
That's right. We've also you can also get it with a little lithium-ion battery pack. Now, this one's slightly different. This is a slightly bigger battery pack. So we call this the XL battery pack.
Not compatible with the previous battery pack.
Correct. So this is going to be the BA 3.7V 3 amp hour XL. There we go. There's the pop-up. Perfect. That explains it well. It's slightly different to the other one that we saw. This one here. So it's not the same as this. It is clearly bigger. Okay. And this is now designed to fit a range of new line lasers, line levelers, or laser levelers that we've got. So this particular one, let's slide that in. Okay. You'll see, maybe we might use the overhead or the close-up camera. Okay, let's put that in. Okay. I charged you. Did we not charge this one up? Oh dear me. What you've got on the, so obviously you've got your 3 apertures. And you see on the overhead camera, for example, we've changed the interface screen. Hold up a little bit.
We had 2. I think we've charged 1 and probably not.
It might be in the other unit. So you'll see you've got a number of buttons at the top here. We can choose the individual lasers that we want. So this laser is this one, that one's the front one, and then this one's here. So we've kept the actual orientation very, very, very obvious, very clear. Okay, the final button on this side is, it's very dark for you to see, that is going to be your eco mode. Let's see if this other battery has been fully charged.
I know I definitely charged 1 up. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. I've got the wrong one. There you go. So yes, as you can see, you can just cut to the close-up camera instead. You see that we can cycle through all the different lasers. There we go. There we go. That's all 3 on now, I believe.
Thanks for that.
It's all right. You're welcome. Okay, so a 3-line laser giving you a dual power source, so you can run on the lithium-ion packs if you charge them, and also your AA battery packs. Okay, so if you are looking for a 3-line laser, you want to have a slightly upgraded one from your original 380s, for example.
Yeah.
But you want to have now newer or rugged interface here.
Yeah.
With the protected lenses as well as the interface on the top, which is far more modern, and the ability to run both AAs and a lithium-ion pack than this new model, the GLL 80-33G.
Yeah.
Is your perfect choice.
I do like the shorter, more compact laser apertures on these. I think they're really nicely sized.
Yeah,
now.
a nice improvement on the previous models. I think we're really coming to our own in regards to how the consistent look of these machines are.
Yeah, they've slimmed down the corner joints on here as well. So on a line laser, it's doing a 360-degree line. You will get the tiniest of little gaps, but because they've thinned these really down here, tougher material, you barely see them.
Right. Nearly there, guys. Nearly there. Right, so Danny, you've got one more line laser we've got here.
I do. I'll need that battery back.
There you go.
Is this the flat one?
No,
or?
that should be the one that works.
Good. Okay. So this is the GLL 20-22G. So you
Ta-da.
position it
I'm very particular.
right there.
There
You
we
are
go.
particular.
Oh,
yeah.
you're going to do it there.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so what can we gather from it? Well, it's a line laser.
Yep, it's
Two.
two. There's two apertures on this. It's again, it's not a 360-degree laser. This is just a line laser.
So generation two line laser, and working range of 20 meters.
20 meters, which is plenty for majority of internal work for buildings. So this is your lighter duty than your previous model there, but for decorating and cabinetry installing, absolutely perfect.
Perfect. Right. So
Even plumbing and electrician work, if you're tracing pipes down walls or anything like that, and this is the one for you.
yeah, all the features you'd expect. You've got self-leveling in less than 4 seconds. You've got the ability to self-level up to ±4 degrees, 0.3 millimeters accuracy per meter. So all the things you'd expect from us. IP65 running on those dual battery systems as well. So you can run on AAs as well as that lithium ion pack. And one other thing, let me switch it off and point it directly towards one of the cameras. One thing that we've improved is the window apertures on this particular model.
Yes,
So we've taken advantage on these U-shaped windows.
Wrap around the outside of the machine slightly,
Yeah.
and that gives you a wider fan or wider beam of the actual laser as well. So you're getting more of a spread. 120-degree angle on this. I believe.
The original was 120, we're up to 140
140 now, right?
So
okay.
even more angle due to, as Danny said, these extra window apertures. So normally with a 2-line laser, obviously you'll need to be adjusting it a few more times, trying to get the angles. This gives you a little bit extra on the corners there.
So this is your replacement for your 15.
That's right, yes.
So we've upped the range to 20 as well. So
Okay, last 2 products. Any questions, Dharma, or have we exhausted them? Because we're getting exhausted too.
There's more questions, but they're not about this product, so
Okay.
I'm going to leave them for the end.
Let's hold it. Let's blitz this last little bit, because we're going to talk about some products that are not necessarily new. Sorry, they are new, but we have already talked about them before.
Yes.
Danny, you might have one down there.
yes, there's one tucked down here, but it's not in a great position. So bear with me.
Going to make some noise.
I keep making grunting noises every time I attempt to pick stuff up.
Now, if you watched not last week's live stream, because that was Danny talking about hand tools, we did our bi-turbo special, and towards the end of the bi-turbo special, we showed you a couple new, well, in this particular, we showed you a couple new machines that haven't launched yet before, and one of them was our bi-turbo brushless chainsaw.
There you go. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
It's a little buried under all of the other.
that sounded exhausting. Right, okay. So let's see if we can squeeze as much of that on camera as we can. This is the GKE 18V-40 Professional bi-turbo brushless 18-volt chainsaw. What a mouthful, right? So if you want to see more information about that, feel free to watch our previous live stream on our bi-turbo special, where we talked about this in quite a lot of detail. It is
They actually let us outdoors for that as well, which is quite
It
nice.
is a single 18-volt battery machine. Okay, so obviously bi-turbo, so it's designed to fit the Procore battery.
Even the 12.
Fit the 12 amp hour battery. Okay, in fact, works really well with the 12 amp hour battery, giving you a lot of runtime. In fact, you can get up to 250 10 by 10 centimeter cuts on a 12 amp hour Procore, so a lot of runtime. Another advantage of it is the fact that it has the OptiCut feature, which means it gives you a little bit more get out of jail time when you're working in extremely challenging cuts, because it helps control speed and torque, stopping the blade from chaining, stopping the chain from blocking on jamming, bogging down, and giving the user a bit of feedback, telling you to back off a little bit. Although I'm being honest, this is a really fast machine.
Yes.
I mean, it only has a blade speed of 12.4 meters per second. However,
it's the torque that's the real bonus here.
Right. 40 centimeter bar, giving you a maximum cut diameter of 36 centimeters. A really nice little thing. But as I said, if you want to find out more, if you want to see this in a little bit more detail, check out the Biturbo brushless special that we did maybe I think it was a month ago, where Danny and I talk in a little bit more detail of the main features of it. We will be doing some hands-on demonstration at some point.
Yes.
Maybe towards the end of the year, showing probably the right season for it, and show you exactly how well it works. I mean, there is already video content, some product videos showing it in use, and for a nice little 18-volt saw, it's really punching way above its voltage class.
It certainly is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing, Oregon blade, of course.
Yep.
We've not skimped on the actual accessories as well.
Exactly.
So all in all, a really, really nice chainsaw. Okay, right. If we move on to the final product in the new lawn and garden range,
Yes.
is
Again, quite familiar, however, slightly different. So this one, the make a lot of racket, GHE 18V-50, and that's a professional 18-volt hedge trimmer. Now, everyone, we know we've already got one in the range, the 60, but this is a shorter bar length.
Yep. 50 centimeters is a bit more popular. 60 is kind of bridging that gap between professional and domestic. The 50 is far more manageable, a little bit smaller, and probably a bit more suited to the average person using these tools in their own property, for example. Okay, it isn't Biturbo brushless. It's running on any of our 18-volt batteries, for example.
You try to pop a cool pack on there.
Yeah, cool pack on there. Will run on the Procore 18V 4 amp hour really well as well. It has a really, really nice lightweight safety switch, which means you don't actually have to hold it and pull it down as much. Just basically the way of the machine is enough. And very, very light actuation, very, very comfortable. Good for using overhead as well. The D handle here means you can use it in all kinds of orientations without overstressing and fatiguing yourself too much. The machine itself obviously is going to feature our ABS system, our anti-blocking system. Again, a really, really good USP in the market. Very, very much coined, I guess, and promoted by our DIY range. And obviously we're going to have it in our Pro range as well, which means that this machine, if it were to jam, not necessarily jam, but unable to cut through any branches in its initial cut, it'll automatically switch into forward and reverse and chop through the basically chop through the wood, and it's completely automatic. You don't have to do anything, so there's no disruption. Okay, so this machine has a blade length of 50 centimeters, as we said. It has tooth opening of 23 centimeters, allowing you to cut
20
centimeter maximum cutting capacity.
20 millimeters.
Did I say 20 centimeters?
20 centimeters. That's a large.
Let me start again. 23 millimeter tooth spacing, giving you the cutting capacity of 20 millimeters.
Yes.
Okay, and runtime, no load runtime, so I've actually got the numbers for this one. It's 198 minutes on a 4 amp hour battery, so
that's a lot of constant trigger pressure.
that is a lot.
Yeah. I personally wouldn't be able to do that, holding this up for that length of time. You're going to have a cup of tea or something during that.
I think I'll get bored after 198 minutes. But actually the machine itself, quite addictive, but actually no, not that heavy. No. Very, very effortless. It's very well balanced, and that's the most important thing. Very, very well balanced with battery on it. Okay.
Comfortable to use, yeah.
Yep. Metal protector on the front, so if you're doing plunge cuts. You'll see here you've got all your the name escapes me.
Frond guides.
Thank you. Frond guides. And at the front here, this is going to be like your chopping area here, which doesn't have the protectors here.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so we're already familiar from the GHE 18V-60. Same thing again, just a shorter bar, which is much more convenient to many people out there using this more for work around their home, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. How are we doing? We are pretty much done.
I think so.
There's a few other things that we were going to talk about a little bit, but because we had too many products, we might save it for another video.
Yep.
Because, for example, this just came in today, which was our new
3.9 millimeter diameter cable or camera for our GIC range of inspection cameras.
So going from your 8 centimeter.
8 millimeter.
Sorry, oh my God, my numbers are all messed up today. Yeah, 8 millimeter, and now you're going down to
3.9.
Okay.
And the picture quality is, well, I can't tell the difference between the two. I'm sure there is a a slight drop in picture quality due to the size, but not noticeably. Really useful bit of kit that for for situations where you need to get into.
Well, I mean, if you don't want to be
really
too,
tight
if you don't want to be too disruptive, especially if you're doing exploratory holes, 8mm is not too bad. But if you make it smaller, that'll be even better, less disruption. We're not going to spend too much time on this. It's nice to give you a little teaser.
Yep.
This is already launched, so if you are in the market for this for your GIC, either the 4 or the 5 model, then it will fit perfectly, work really well. However, we might wait until the third cable,
Yes.
which is a dual camera cable, comes out, and then we'll do a little reminder and a little update showing all 3 cables now available for our new range of professional inspection cameras.
Looking forward to that, and the other cable there as well.
I know I've got lots of customers looking for this, and trust me, the dual camera is equally the same. So, whoa, how are we doing, team? That is, this is turning into us. This was nearly a special. We're coming up towards an hour 40.
22
2
hours.
hour.
Yeah.
2 hour 40? Is it 2 hour 40?
Really?
2 hour 40? Okay, maybe a little less. 2 hours and a half, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, right. So let's end it because I want my dinner.
Yep.
I
Me
want
too.
to go home and eat. Everyone in the chat, you're probably
eating
eating
right
your
now.
dinner, right?
Right
yeah.
now.
Okay. So, any last final questions, Dharma, before we call it an evening?
Yeah, so there are a lot more questions, but I can't go through all of them today. So if everyone please comment them in the comments once this live is over. But just a note, Rob Harvey's in the chat.
Yay.
Yeah, he's probably well. As you know, Rob Harvey is working with a influential woodworker. I'm sure he's got his beady eyes on some of these. Router.
Yep.
Feel free to reach out to us, Rob. I'm sure something could be organised. We'll do some horse trading. You can make me you can get Matt to make me a dining room table. I might allow him to borrow one of our routers. Who knows? We'll work something out.
He has a question actually. He asks, "What's the biggest thing you've cut through so far yourselves?"
The biggest thing, generally. I mean,
Are you talking with what machine?
with what machine, Rob?
Yeah.
Obviously, we've been using the chainsaw itself can do some serious damage to anything up to 35 centimeters. We were literally doing that today. Actually, it's one of the reasons why we rushed from outside straight into the studio. Generally speaking, day to day, probably one of the most impressive things we always work with is going to be our GCM 18V-305 GCD.
Glide.
I'm a bit tired now. I keep forgetting it, but bi-turbo brush.
GDC,
18,
yeah.
Yeah, GDC.
Yeah, Glide.
GDC, yes, that's right, GDC. And honestly, we're doing, every time I demonstrate that, because obviously it's got a maximum depth of cut of 120 millimeters
we do
by
punish
400
that a little
millimeters.
bit, don't we?
Yeah, we absolutely brutalize that 12-inch 18-volt bi-turbo saw. Every time someone uses it, I then tell them that's an 18-volt machine. And they do not believe me.
Single pass cut through railway sleepers.
Yeah, exactly.
One go.
Otherwise, you know us, Rob. Just give us the biggest recip saw blade. And
We'll give it a go.
We'll cut it, okay?
He said with the chainsaw.
Well, we have done the maximum cut of that 35 centimeter through basically tree trunks.
Yes.
Well, tree limbs. Well, that was more like a trunk, to be honest, we had today.
Yes.
And again, just using the weight of the machine, not pushing too hard, of course, because it's not really designed for that. It's giving you a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
Just using the weight of the machine, it'll cut that effortlessly.
Yeah, the Opti cut steps in and really does cover yourself when if you're providing too much pressure, it steps in and
Yeah, I'm sure actually maybe Rob and Matt are interested in having a look at that chainsaw for doing things in your workshop. It has almost been designed for that because obviously we don't have the quick adjustment on the side. We've kept it with the nut tensioners to keep that profile nice and tight on the side there. The tree trunk that we were doing today, again, it was 35 centimeters, but we were going through a knot as well.
Yeah.
Again, honestly, really surprising. Again, with an 18-volt battery running that.
Might be something else coming in the future that could be quite exciting as well.
There are a lot of things coming.
Yes.
As I said, looking forward to, I don't know, we're looking forward to the next new tool live stream because it's going to be even more tools. More than 3 hours? Well, I don't know if we might have to do part 1 and part 2. I don't think we couldn't do any more than 3 hours. It's too much.
I'm regretting getting in early this morning.
Okay. Any final comments, Dharma, or should we call it a day?
I'll just end it off with one more question. So, Dan and Chris, what was your favorite new tool?
Well, I think I already told you that my favorite one could be, well, it's between the two. Obviously, we're talking about the GKS 18V-57-2GX. Easy to say. But look, we know which ones you're waiting for. We're waiting for this machine, and we're obviously waiting for the 18-volt router. So both of those machines, where have you got it, Dan? You got
it over here. Well, we've been playing around that for a little while now. So the 18-volt router there. I think from my point of view, I was so surprised with the GPB 18V-6. The radio, the Bluetooth, DAB, all the bells and whistles one. I think I've got that up there.
Yeah.
That one for me, game changer. The sound quality again is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But if you're in, but radios aside, both of these have been anticipated. They've been asked for. Especially the router has taken a long time to come out, but I'm so happy that it's everything I want it to be.
Yeah.
So as much as I love this saw and all the functionality it's got, this one's key.
Yeah.
Okay. GKF 18V-8.
1,000 watts of peak power and a quarter-inch router.
Yeah. In a TE 600 plunge base, I am surprised that honestly, I'm surprised how much power that outputs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Finally done. Not bad. Well done, ladies. Well done, ladies and gents.
Yep.
Thank you very much to the audience for staying with us so long. I don't know who's all in the chat still. Looks like a lot of people stayed the duration. So well done to you guys too. Yep. You deserve a medal as well. We'll hopefully be doing another live stream in the next 2 weeks. I look at the team going, is that right? 2 weeks? I think we might be doing one. I don't know what the topic is yet. I think we're going to decide what it's going to be. Dan and I, as well as many others in the team, are going to be at a number of events. So if you are anywhere near quite a big event that's happening next week in the south of England, near Farnborough, I believe it is.
Yes.
If you happen to be at that event, and you'll know which one it is, feel free to come down and have a look come join us on the Bosch stand. I don't know what number we're at currently. I should know that, of course, but we'll find that out soon. Feel free to come down and have a chat with us. We'll talk to you for hours.
Certainly.
Hours. All day.
Anything about dust. Absolutely, hours on dust.
Buy me lunch and I'll talk to you about anything you want.
Yeah.
If you can get me off the stand, even better.
Even better.
Exactly. So, again, thank you very much for staying nearly 3 hours. Hope you've enjoyed the live stream today. So thank you very much for myself.
And from me too.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.